Going to do our talk today. So our talk today is going to be tariffs and traders, right? So we got a lot of people talking about this whole tariff thing was the big news, right? And as someone who actually imports hardware from India, right? I'm an actual importer and also makes American furniture, right? 100% made in America with American plywoods, hardwoods, labor, all this kind of things, American paints, all these kind of things. I think a pretty good person to really talk about how tariffs really work and what it's actually like to have to deal with this whole tariff situation. So I got a bunch of notes for us today. We're going to talk about tariff law. We're going to talk about the what is coming up in the whole tariff negotiation and tariff arguments, and kind of what's potentially going to play out over the next year or so. And we can even talk about tariff dividends, which you guys are clearly never going to see. There's stuff like that, but then we need to talk about the traders, right? The traders in this country are a lot of our congressmen. And again, they're people on the Republican side more than on the left side, if I'm being completely honest. Like, these people are just, they are just zealots for foreign countries, right? And they're not zealots for America, right? Which I got a real problem with. And again, this isn't we're not going to talk about like races of people and ethnic groups and all that kind of stuff. We're talking about governments today. And clearly we got a lot of people in our government that are much more aligned with foreign governments than our own. And I got a big problem. So we're going to name all those people. We're going to talk about why I believe this is happening. But the overarching theme of our entire discussion today is going to be the fact that process is destroying this country. Process is making it so hard for anybody to do anything. And if you guys extrapolate that out to the states and the cities and all this kind of stuff, you'll see that states do the same thing. You know, it's the reason places like California can't build light-speed rail, right? They'll take the money, right? But they're not going to do the work, right? And then if you ever try and hold these people accountable, what ends up happening is, again, you got to go through the process, you got to go through the elections, and you're left with, you know, crappy candidate A or crappy candidate B. And this is all part of this process thing. So, like, take what I do. Like, I have a furniture company and I have a paint company, okay? If I want to, say I want to go build a building here in St. Louis, right? Now, St. Louis is in Missouri. Missouri's a pretty red state. They don't have a ton of regulations. But for the sake of argument, I want to go build a building. It's not as simple as I just go, you know, grab a company, they go build me a building. No, I'm probably going to have to get, you know, environmental studies done on the land. I'm probably going to have to get all the permitting done on the land. I got to get my plans approved. I got to get things ran through the city. There's layers of process on top of these. And while some of it's good, most of it is intentionally put there so that the money that comes out of the taxpayer then gets moved around the entire world through the different districts in America, through the different politicians, the NGOs, all these kinds of things. It's meant to slow that whole process down, and that gravy train just keeps going. And we see that just in absolutely everything in America today. So, with that being said, we'll get on with our discussion. Like I said, I got several notes of things here I want to talk to you guys about. And my name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Splendid Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. I do these talks I try to do them once a day, and we talk about current events. We talk about, you know, making furniture. We talk about politics. We talk about, you know, whatever's hot in the news, right? And that's how we start today. I got myself a little monster this morning. We're going to get cracking. But my business is furniture, right? So I own a small business. We got 8 employees. We do, you know, a couple $1 million a year. And it's a great little middle-class business. We don't get rich. We don't make a ton of money. But the truth is that this is what America is. What I do in this country as an uneducated business owner is America. We create a product here in America using American products. We hire American people. And these people then go off and they buy automobiles. They buy homes. They have kids. And this is how America works. And I think we're kind of forgetting a little bit of that. So let's talk about it today. If you're in the stream, guys, hit the like button, add the discussion. Subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of content. But again, hitting the like button kicks the algorithm around. So, okay, so where are we at today? Tariffs and traders. So yesterday, everyone knows that the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs, right? So these tariffs were essentially put in place. Every country was different, right? So for me, I import hardware from India, right? So what happened with India is, India initially had like a 10% tariff. And then what they started to do is they started bringing in Russian oil. So then Trump said, well, you know what? We're going to up it to 25%, and then we may up it to 50%. So Trump and this administration was using this as a negotiating tactic with every country to essentially strong-arm them, okay? Now, I don't like this. As an American, leave these other countries alone. They're sovereign countries, right? Trump's always talking about how it's so important to have sovereign countries. You know, leave these people alone. Right? But he doesn't like what they're doing. So what he tries to do is he tries to say, hey, you want to sell into America, right? You're going to do what we want you to do. Otherwise, we're going to tariff the shit out of you. And that's what he was doing. Okay, so how does this play into this whole process thing, right? How does this play into traders and tariffs? What happens is Trump is playing this game where he wants the world to do everything that he wants them to do because he thinks it's good for America, okay? Now, I've got some stats for you guys on why everybody wants to be in America, right? And I'm gonna say every person, but every country wants to sell into America, okay? Listen to this. America is the greatest economy that has ever existed in the history of civilization. Guys, give me just a few minutes. I'll jump into comments and then we'll continue the discussion. I want to say hi to everyone. I'll read your comments like I always do, but just give me just a quick second. Okay. Again, hit the like button if you're in the stream. So what they're trying to do is he's bullying all these countries and he's trying to get them to do exactly what it is that they want them to do using these tariffs. Okay. Now there's a lot of different tariff policies, guys, and this thing that I don't hear enough people talking about this. Just because the tariff statute that we use to tariff Japan is different than the tariff statute that we use to tariff China. Okay, now I don't think people quite understand this, but the statute these guys are using is this process that I'm telling you guys about. And Trump is using this process to get what he wants from all these people, okay? Let's hear me out here real quick. So the tariff policy that just got struck down was called IEEPA, okay? And I think everyone's heard this point. International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, right? So the Supreme Court of the United States struck that thing down, right? And honestly, I think that they should have. He was using it incorrectly, and the truth is that the president can't just issue tariffs blanketly on the rest of the world and change how those tariffs are utilized. Right? That's Congress's job. Congress has the power of the purse, right? So Trump is the executive branch. Now, what he's doing now is he's essentially adding tariffs onto other countries using something called the Trade Act of 1974. So this Trade Act, he's using Section 122 of this particular Trade Act to do up to 50% tariffs on countries for up to 150 days, okay? So this is his new tactic, right, to get tariffs for people. This is the tool that he's going to use. He's starting with 10% across-the-board tariffs. I think everyone has kind of heard this. But again, this only lasts for 150 days. So now Trump's got to figure out, well, okay, now what other act can I use? What other statute can I use to get my tariffs back, right? Because what he was doing before deemed unconstitutional, okay? So the other things that you're going to use, he's going to use something called, let's see here. He's going to use something called Section 232 of this IEEPA law and Section 122 of this IEEPA law, okay? This is the Trade Expansion Act and the Trade Act of 1974. He's going to use these different trade acts to put tariffs back into the rest of the world because, again, what Trump's trying to do, Trump doesn't give a fuck about tariffs. He doesn't care about whether Americans pay 10% more for products. What he's trying to do is he's trying to strong arm the world because he knows that every country needs America to buy their shit, okay? So listen to this. This is insane, guys. Like everyone knows that America is the greatest economy in the world, right? But they don't know how much of a great economy we are. And I always use the analogy, and I do it on every stream. You buy a bottle of water at Walmart, it costs 50 cents. You buy a bottle of water at, whatever, the convenience store, it's $2, right? You buy that same bottle of water at the airport, it's $5. You buy that same bottle of water at a concert, it's $10, right? So they just rake you over the coals based on convenience, right? If you're willing to leave your home and go somewhere to go get that water, it's super cheap. You buy it in bulk, it's super cheap, right? You go to a place where you just want one bottle of water and it's not readily available, you're trapped, they can charge you whatever you want, right? So everybody wants to be in the American market. The American market is the airport. The American market is the stadium, right, where they stick it up your ass for, $20 for a hot dog, right? America has all of the money, guys. Listen to this. Here's your stats. Let me read these stats off, and then we'll go through comments, okay? Listen to this. So on average, America pays 2 to 5 times what any other country is willing to pay for any product that's sold in the world, okay? So what I'm telling you guys, that when Trump puts these tariffs in here, right, these countries are more than willing to pay some of this tariff. And again, when your economists say, oh, 90%, the American consumer is paying 90% of this tariff, they're full of shit, guys. They're absolutely full of shit. I've explained to you guys a million times why my customer doesn't pay the entire tariff, right? I've told you guys how everybody downstream takes a little piece of that, right, which is these other countries essentially paying those tariffs because these people want to sell in here so bad. because they can get so much more money by selling into America, even if they have to pay a 10, 15, 20% tariff, right? It doesn't matter, okay? So it's not a big deal. So another thing you need to know. So here's some great examples. Everyone has an iPhone, right? So an iPhone, if you want to sell an iPhone in America, it's going to go for $1,200 to $1,600, right? If you want to sell that same product in Europe or Asia, it's going to sell for $900 to $1,100, all right? Like, think about that amount of value you can get by selling it into America, right? So you're fucking crazy if you don't think that the American businesses aren't going to make the manufacturers of said product eat some of that tariff, right? So they can continue to sell it into America, right? Very important. So take something like luxury handbags, right? And again, I know there's a lot of dudes on here. Dudes don't give a fuck about handbags, but here's the deal. Handbags are like $5,000, right? My wife's got a shit ton of them. They're like the Gucci, the Chanel, the Valentino, the Dior, the YSL, whatever the hell that, Yongsan, Lam, blah, 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 whatever all that shit is. Those bags are like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, right? You got Birkin bags, $30,000, right? These bags are wildly expensive. These sell for 30 to 50% more in America than they do in the fucking countries that they're made in, which is France and Italy. Okay, so everybody wants to sell their shit in here to America, right? German cars, you guys might not know this. German cars, BMW, Mercedes, Audi. Like, I love all these cars. I'm a German car guy. They sell for 10 to 30% more in America than they do in fucking Germany where they're made, okay? So everybody wants to sell products into America, whether you're making stuff in Europe, in Australia, in China, wherever you are, Canada, everybody wants to sell into America because all the fucking money is here, right? Not only can we pay more, we buy more of those things, right? So you're waiting on price, you're waiting on volume. Everybody wants to be here, okay? Let's dig into comments real quick. And again, we're talking about tariffs and traders. We're going to talk about tariffs from, again, a guy who actually imports stuff. I don't think enough people are hearing from people that really import, right? You guys are hearing from economists, which know fuck all about importing. You're listening to people on Fox News, which know fuck all about importing. You're listening to MSNBC, CNN. These guys know fuck all, right? All the people on X right now that claim to understand importing and tariffs and all that kind of stuff, they don't import jack shit. They're fucking talking heads. I actually do the work. So I think this is a valuable conversation. So let's dig into it, guys. I appreciate you being here this morning. Happy Saturday to everyone. I fed my birds. My birds are all fed. So I'm in here to talk. All right. This is editing online. Okay. The news is full of bullshit. Yes, I agree. And again, I'm going to talk to you guys about facts again from someone that actually does this stuff. You want to know from an actual American manufacturer? I make 500 pieces of furniture a year. Okay. That's a lot of furniture, believe it or not, right? That's more than your fucking YouTuber who makes 10 pieces a year and then makes content about it all year long. Okay. I actually build a lot of furniture. I import thousands of pieces of hardware every year from the country of India, right? So if anyone's going to understand importing, exporting, making shit in America, it's going to be me. So I'm going to be the guy that is going to get on here every day and I'm going to talk the fucking truth about what it takes to make stuff in America, why big business is fucking all of you over, and I'm going to talk about what importing really means, what tariffs really mean, because I actually do it all, right? So, okay. B1 Trucker, all right, man, good name. 662, facts, right, 100% facts. And B1 Trucker, let me know if you're a trucker, man, I want to know. Okay, have you sold to the furniture market in Tulupo, Mississippi? No, B1 Trucker, I don't sell a ton of furniture to Mississippi, though I do have I need to go down to Alabama. I have to go down there and bid on a big job, which I don't normally do. So the truth is, if I'm being completely honest about how the furniture market works and how most things work, I would imagine, is that most of my product, being that it's a luxury product, is going to be sold to the wealthy people, to the wealthy areas in America, right? So the truth is the wealthiest part of America is the East Coast. A lot of people think it might be the West Coast because of tech. It doesn't hold a fucking candle to the East Coast. All the money is in Connecticut, it's in Massachusetts, and it's in New York. That's where all the money is, right? Now, what's happening today is that money is moving south. People are getting wise to what's going on with the taxes and the socialism and the communism that's kind of infiltrating a lot of these wealthy people, and they're moving south to Florida. So now I ship more product to Florida than I've ever shipped in my life. So that's how that works. Mississippi doesn't have a ton of money, or at least maybe doesn't like my product as much. Alabama doesn't have a ton of money, or maybe doesn't like my product. Louisiana, a little bit, but most of my business is going to Florida, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Texas. If I had to pick like the really big hotspots, West Coast, not so much. The tree huggers over there, they're not big into VOCs and lacquer paint. They think they're afraid of their shadows over there, so it doesn't quite work as well that way. So there you go. All right, James Dillon. No, hold on, we get user TTBR saying here. Good to see you, dude. Glad you're here. It's basically turnover, no need to make millions. Yeah, something like that. James Dillon at 8765. Trump was ready. I think Trump was ready. And again, like, say what you will about Trump. I said I've been super vocal about how fucking mad I am at Trump and how pissed off I am at the fact that he's kind of screwed the American people a little ways. He hasn't done what he said he was going to do, or at least what he ran on. But I think Trump understands marketing. I think Trump understands product, right? And Trump understands timelines, which not enough people talk about Trump. Trump is one of these guys. He can't fucking wait for Congress to spend years, pontificating and talking about what it is that he's trying to do. He's trying to get shit done for the American people, and our government doesn't know how to react. Countries like China, countries like France over in Europe, countries like Russia, these people, they understand long timelines because they don't have 4-year election cycles like we do here in America. So they can afford to wait America out, which is, again, the very first thing I said in the stream. Process is killing this country, right? We're never going to know how great changes can be, good or bad, if they're not allowed to happen, right? If it takes 4, 5, 6, 7 years for something to happen, then you're never going to know. And again, if everything is piecemealed in, you basically get drip and drip and drip and drip, we're never going to know how good something can be or how awful something can be. We just kind of get it. The boat just kind of does this. It just kind of teeters back and forth. And it's done that as long as I've lived. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's how I see it. So we'll see what Trump has to say. All right, Lucas Borden's in here. Man, good to see you, dude. F5M says, hello, glad you're here. Guys, if you're in the stream, hit the like button. Well, I want to kick this thing up. I want to get 50 likes on the stream today. I'll give you guys a couple hours to talk about this issue today. I want to get thousands of people in here like we generally do on the weekends, and let's really have a good discussion. Let me know your guys' what you think about what I'm saying, and I'm going to banter back and forth with everyone. You guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong. All right, Tyrone Bradshaw, W7Q, he was trying to make trade fair again. Yeah, and so, again, I've got a bunch of notes about trade, so I won't get into it too much just yet because I want to keep going through comments real quick. But yeah, trade, if you guys look at things like NAFTA and the World Trade Organization, we pretty much got fucked in the ass on that whole situation. And then we sent everyone to college, right? We let everyone go to college, which was awesome. Like, who wouldn't want to not go to work when you turn 18? Oh, great, I get 4 or 5 more years of college. Woohoo! More whippets and drugs and blow. And I go bang chicks and bang dudes and live this amazing carefree life. So that was allowed to happen for a long time. Now that AI's come in and we're realizing, oh my God, we don't need a lot of these white collar jobs. We shipped all the blue collar work, right, over to the third world. And now suddenly everyone's like, oh my God, we need to learn how to make shit again. It's like, it's wild what happened. But anyway, we've kind of been in rough shape there. So hopefully trade will be fair. I got all the numbers on trade, guys. I mean, if you want to know, 40% of all of our U.S. manufacturing was actually being done prior to letting China the World Trade Organization in 2001. So the move was already happening, and the move started with NAFTA in 1994. So things were already starting with NAFTA. They really ramped up when we let China in the World Trade Organization, and now we're in deep shit. Now, a great example, guys, is Apple, right? So everyone knows Apple. Everyone's got an Apple phone or Apple earbuds. So the thing about Apple, Apple started making all of its shit in 2001 in China, right? What has Apple created that's been great since the iPhone or their little earbuds, right? And people can say the watch, but the watch is bullshit. Again, they've created nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. They are a legacy company that is dying, and they're basically resting on their laurels by building all their shit in China and then just feeding money to their shareholders. That's all they're doing. They're not making anything. All that money that Apple brought in, they gave to their shareholders. They've created nothing that has helped America. They've created nothing that has helped the people that bought their products, right? They've created nothing. They're a legacy company that's dying, So that's one example of a company that just, again, they got too big for their britches and now they're not doing jack shit. So, all right, we got Jen Bode 5446. Tariffs hurt the poor, enrich the rich. Yes, and I'm one of these guys. I talk about how tariffs have really helped small business, which ultimately helps people that don't have any money, right? I've told you guys many times that my family, I grew up dirt fucking poor in a double-wide trailer out in the middle of nowhere in Oregon, right? And one of the things that we could do, right, we had a little bit of land out there, One of the things that we could do is we could make stuff, right? And that's what you do when you're poor. You kind of learn to make things, you figure things out, you kind of learn to work on cars, because you can't afford to buy new ones, That's one of the great things about being poor that I don't hear people talk about. But what we did is that we put everybody into Section 8 housing. We put everyone into apartments, and guess what? You can't do anything. All you can do is talk on your phone. All you can do is try and sell some white label product that's made in a third world country. You can maybe white label it, sell it on the internet, right? We've really screwed the poor in many ways by, again, getting all these people into apartments. But the tariffs allowed you to have more access to people to buy your goods because the parity of what a company can sell something for by making it in the third world is comparable to what you can make it for here in America. I've talked about it many times. My business has grown to near COVID levels because of tariffs, right? And I don't have empirical data to support that specifically it is tariffs, but I can only conclude that I've gotten more opportunities to sell my product because people like my product more, right? They like, know, and trust me. They like my wife. They like the brand, the Resplendent Crow. They would much rather buy my product than fucking Restoration Hardware's product. They would much rather buy my product than Pottery Barn's product. And again, when you tariff the shit out of China and Vietnam, which is where all these companies make their products, there's parity for our products. So again, my business does better. I can hire more people. I can pay more wages. I can give out bonuses like I did last year. It is a good thing, these tariffs, but I don't hear enough people talking about it. Economists always fucking say that, oh, low prices are good for everyone, right? Low prices, fuck all of you when it comes to making money. Like, it's very difficult for you guys to make good money, make it a foreign product, and selling it into America. It's very difficult. If you make an American product, sell it to Americans using American products in a tariff environment, it's fucking money. It's gold. And again, I don't hear enough people talking about it. And this is just my experience, so take it with a grain of salt. All right, more comments. This is James Dillon, 8765. God bless Donnie J. Okay, cool, man. Tyrone Bradshaw, bullying. America has been getting screwed over for years. Are you anti-American? No. So America has been the dominating country since 1945, right? We literally conquered the world in World War II. We could have been Rome, if we really wanted to be. But instead, America actually funded the reconstruction of all of Europe with this thing called the Marshall Plan, right? Everyone had to buy our products. We already had the manufacturing base because we had just outproduced Germany, we'd outproduced Russia, we'd outproduced everybody, right? All of our great American companies like Cessna, like Coleman Stove, like Stanley, right? All these people were converting over to making goods for the war effort. I mean, America rationed tin, rubber, all kinds of things. And we were the dominant country in the world at that point, and we built everybody else up, So America has been the dominant country forever. And that's great if you're an American. We love it. But what Trump's trying to do is he's trying to strong arm these countries to continue to grow America's might and grow America's influence. Because what America did, and again, you're not going to hear anybody say this, is America built China, guys. America built our adversary, right? Like America did this. We didn't, China didn't grow on their own, right? Russia didn't build up China, right? Europe didn't build up China. America built up China starting in 2001 when we let China into the World Trade Organization, guys. Like, all of these businesses that we have, Nike, Restoration Hardware, our house, Pottery Barn, again, my industry is furniture. There's a million of them. The auto companies, they sent all that work over there. So where do you guys think China got all of its router technology, right? All its CNC technology, all of its AI technology, all of its scientific technology? It came from American businesses and American government sending that work to the third world. Like that's how China got built up. And now we're basically saying, oh, China's the enemy, China's the bad guy. We got to do everything because China is gonna, do it if we don't do it, right? You guys hear the AI thing. If we don't build data centers and fucking fuck everyone over with electricity prices, China's gonna do it, and then they're gonna crush us, okay? America did this, right? And I should parse it out a little bit more. It wasn't that America did it. American businesses did it because they wanted to make money, right? They wanted to give you guys low prices, but the expense came by building up a superpower. We created our own enemy, right? And some people still want to argue that Russia is the enemy. Russia isn't jack shit, guys. Like, Russia's economy is the size of Texas. I don't know if you guys know the scale of things, but you got to put things into perspective, right? China is literally right on our doorstep. There's no doubt about it. But when we sent all that work, that we just built everything up, right? I got a chart right here in front of me that shows starting from 2017 to 2023, the amount of products that we're having made in China has gone down because guess what? China's having all their shit made in other countries now because their population is growing, right? Not the luxuries, but their quality of life is getting so great that now they got to find cheaper people to make their shit. And so they're going to India. They're going to Vietnam. They're going to places where labor is less, right? And in China, it's like $2.50 an hour, guys. It's dirt cheap for what they pay people to do my work, which is make furniture. In Vietnam, it's like $1.75. Like, it's even less, and that's what's going on, guys. Like, America's literally building up its enemies, and it's doing it because you guys want fucking low prices. And again, if you put tariffs on these countries, guess what happens, right? The credenza or dresser that is made in Vietnam, right, for whatever, $200, is then shipped over here and tariffed, right? Now, if that tariff is 25%, I think it's currently 20%, 20% of 200 is going to be 40 bucks. Now it becomes $240. That's nothing, right? It's hardly anything, but it's something, right? Now, if you turn that into 400% tariff, which is what I think all these tariffs need to be, that 200 bucks then becomes $800, right? Then I can compete all day long. If you want to start a furniture company, you can compete all day long, you know? So people need to understand that, like, these little tiny tariffs, they don't do jack shit. They do fucking nothing, right? And again, as someone who actually imports things, I can tell you guys, I'm paying a 25% tariff on all my Indian stuff, right? So every time I bring in $3,000 worth of product, right, I'm paying 25% on top of that, you know? So it's really, it means nothing. It's insignificant. So, okay, let's see, at 100, what's he trying to do is rob you. Yeah, I don't think, again, I don't know. Obviously, Trump is dumb. Again, a lot of people don't like Trump. You know, again, this isn't a Trump issue. This isn't a blue, red, white, green, whatever. This isn't a poor, rich thing. This is basically your government, right, is what is really keeping you guys down. And they're keeping you guys down with process, right? But when it comes to process, everything's wildly slow here in America. But when it comes to giving out foreign aid, very quick, right? When it comes to sending your Navy over to help a foreign country who fucking has 6 million people who we shouldn't give two shits about, happens right now, right? When it comes to, you know, bombing other countries in the third world, happens right now. Yet when you want to get a tax cut, or you want to get a little bit more money in your paycheck, you want to reduce the size of your government, fucking takes decades. It takes decades, guys, because they don't give a shit about you. They're not trying to make your life better, right? It's very difficult to do, right? Trump, with a snap of his fingers, threw tons of tariffs on all these other countries, right? Everyone threw a fit. It took over a year to be able to bring those tariffs back in, right? For the Supreme Court of the United States to come in and say, nah, you can't do that, right? And now Trump's right back. Okay, now we're going to do this. Trump's trying to act really quickly, and the process is just wildly slow, right? And again, to get the money, they brought this, whatever was like $400 billion in from all these tariffs. You think you guys are going to get that money back in anything less than 4 years? I'd be shocked. It's not going to happen, right? The process is there to slow everything down so that nothing changes except the things that they want to change, right? That's it. So, all right, keep going with the comments. This is Alan Ayers, 9440. I like him. Yeah, thanks, guys. And again, I own a manufacturing company. We make 500 pieces of furniture a year. We're a small business here. We got 8 employees right here in St. Louis, Missouri. All American-made furniture, American employees, American products, and it's a fantastic business, guys. So, okay, Joe Friday, V2M. Yeah, real dumb Einstein McGee. Okay, Maurice, who's this? Maurice Moditz 5170. I love President Trump. Yeah, I think a lot of people like Trump. You know, it's like a 50-50 thing, you know. But man, Trump's taking so many L's, guys. Like, this is the stuff, like, again, Trump comes in, he says, you know what, we're going to close the border, right? And because he's the executive branch, he can close the border right away, which tells you all you need to know about what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden's on my list of traitors, right? I got probably 10 Republicans on here. I got 1 Democrat. Joe Biden's my Democrat. He is a traitor to this country. And again, we'll go through this. If you guys stick around, we'll get to all these other names. So keep going through a few comments. Let's see where, boy, man, we got, holy shit, I am way behind, guys. We got a lot of comments in here. Okay, we're going to skip up just a little bit and keep going through. We'll do a couple more minutes of comments, and then we're going to get back into our story. We're going to get into our traitors, okay? We got a lot of traitors in this country. I mean, and I say that in gist, right? Obviously, I don't know that they're traitors, but based on what I've seen, I consider these things to be traitorous things, right? What is treason? Treason is essentially doing things that help your enemies, right? Doing things that are not in the interest of or doing things to America to the benefit of another country, right? I'm not good with this. This is the textbook definition of treason, right? You cannot provide aid and comfort to your enemy. And while the definition of enemy is very opaque, I can make the distinction between who an enemy is and who an ally is, okay? So we'll go out from that discussion. All right, who's this? We got Heeb Shlomo. What interesting name there, dude. All right, we got Long Nixon Myers. Hello, good to see you. We got H Green. Shout out to Piestris. Not sure who that is, but that's cool, man. Joseph D says no is not China is no is not China. Okay, dude, keep working on your words there. No is not China is lies. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. You're saying no, it's not China, maybe. So again, elaborate. Let's see this. Hi, this guy is a joke. This is Maurice Omer. It's good, dude. Thanks for being in the discussion. Hit the like button. Add to the discussion. We got Ashton Madden 8665. Now he is smart. I can tell. Okay, I don't know if I'm smart. Joe Friday V2M. Joe Friday, I've seen you again. Glad you're here. Over a lifetime, the former unlawful immigrants together would receive 9.4 trillion in government benefits, services, and pay, 3.1 trillion in taxes. They would generate a lifetime fiscal deficit. Joe Friday, that's interesting, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time to put all those words in there and give us a real comment. So again, this is what we need in the stream, guys. We need people that are willing to talk instead of just, saying little goofball things like contribute to discussion. That's what I really want for people. The people that just want to, basically see themselves on the screen and maybe get me to react to them. Like, y'all need to go find something else to do. This is not that kind of a discussion. So Joe Friday, what you're saying there is, I'll give you some context as an employer. Okay, I want you to think about this. Right. So when an illegal immigrant comes into America, right, they obviously would want a job, right? They're here to, work in the restaurant industry. They're here to work in the housing industry, right? Building houses. They're here to work in the restaurant industry. These are the industries, or meat packing, right? So these are the 4 industries where most of the illegal immigrants come into America to work, right? And again, Trump won't go to those places and just start deporting people, which I find to be kind of interesting, right? Kind of what you need to know. Trump is clearly bought and paid for by the big interests, the large corporations in America. And again, I talk about the corporations as these are the people that sent all your guys' work to the third world, right? The reason you can't make a good wage today is mostly because these people sent all your jobs to the third world, okay? Now, with that being said, so here's how it works as an employer. So this immigrant comes in here, they want a job, right? They're all over the place. Everybody hires illegal immigrants. Sometimes you have no idea if they're illegal or not, okay? Here is the requirement for every employer in America to hire an individual. Here's how it works. You come to me, you say you want a job. Great, I agree to a wage, we're gonna hire you, blah, 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 done. Okay, now, for me to process you in payroll, what I have to do is I have to get you to fill out what's called an I-9, right? This is a federal form, and this allows the people that pay the taxes, in my case, it's gonna be an accountant, or I could pay those taxes myself. This document tells my accountant where we need to send things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all of your tax-related information, okay? All I need from you is an ID, right? Like a driver's license, any kind of ID will do. I need that, and that is it, okay? I need a Social Security number, right? I don't need a Social Security card. I need a Social Security number, okay? So you give me the ID, you give me the Social Security number, I send it over to my tax accountant, all right? My tax accountant then takes that information, he puts it into his computer so that when he starts processing checks, the money is then taken out of their paycheck and sent off to where it needs to go, right? And generally we pay taxes on a quarterly basis, okay? So that's the information that I need as an employer, right? So a lot of states give out IDs to illegal immigrants. They require the minimalist of information, right? My state is Illinois. My business is in Missouri. Missouri, very difficult to get fake ID. Illinois, wildly easy to get fake ID, okay? So what happens is that these states have a abundance of people. Generally, they got a sanctuary city in them, right? Something like Chicago or Los Angeles or New York, right? So these are the states that have these what are essentially fake IDs, if I'm being completely honest. So we hire these people, right? We bring them in, we give all the information to our accountant, and then taxes are distributed, right? So when that illegal immigrant comes in, he's paying the Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the payroll taxes, all these kind of things, the income taxes to the federal government. They're paying this to an illegal Social Security number, right? So they're paying in all the taxes that they should pay. They're just paying it in on an illegal Social Security number, right? That is how it works in every industry in America, right? So when people say that the immigrants come in here and they take more than they give, I disagree with that. Because the truth is that these illegal immigrants, they're not being paid less wages. They're being paid the same wages that anybody else in America would make, right? Now, they don't complain, right? Which is what is fucking awesome about illegal immigrants. They're not gonna complain about the work environment. They're gonna bitch about things. It's nice to have an employee that would want to work instead of talk on their fucking phone and tell me about all their family bullshit. So that is a thing for sure. But if you wanted to fix the situation on the stroke of a pen, all Trump would have to do is say, you know what? We're just doing E-Verify across the board. You have one employee, you have to do E-Verify. What happens then is that the Social Security number that I am required to give to my account so that they can disperse taxes would then be ran through the Social Security Administration. They would then verify your address. They would verify things like, your sex. They would verify all kinds of information because they're actually looking for fraud, right? The people that hire are not looking for fraud. We're just looking for labor, right? So this is how it really works. Let me get your name again, Joe Friday. So again, I say this as an employer. I say this as someone who hires and fires people. So when I talk to you guys about how Trump is fucking all of you and Trump is lying about all the things he campaigned on. I say this as someone who operates in the space and understands exactly how this works. If Trump wanted to do mass deportations, which he talked about as his pillar of his campaign, he would go to the job sites, right, where they build houses. He would go to the hotels, which he owns. He would go to the restaurants, which every restaurant has nothing but Mexicans in the back, right? So if you go to a Chinese restaurant, it's Mexicans cooking. You go to an Italian restaurant, it's Mexicans cooking. You go to a Mexican restaurant, it's Mexicans cooking. You go to an American restaurant, it's Mexicans cooking. It doesn't matter. You go to a Thai restaurant, Mexicans cooking. They have a lock on this industry, but Trump will not go there, right? Same thing with the meatpacking plants. All the meatpacking plants, it's all foreign illegal labor, guys. He won't go there. It's just not going to happen. Like, the guy doesn't want to solve problems, right? Same thing with E-Verify. You want to just, instead of going and mass rounding people up, just say every company needs to have E-Verify, and guess what? You motherfuckers got 6 months. You need to do it for all your employees. Every one of these fucking people would leave. All of them. And they would all do it on their own, because no employer would risk their business trying to keep these motherfuckers on payroll and risk whatever $10,000 a day fine or whatever the current fine is, right? So, again, real employer, I make American products. I also import hardware from India. I know exactly how all this shit works, right? All your politicians are lying to you. All the people on X are lying to you. Donald Trump is fucking lying to you, okay? These problems can be solved in 6 months, but they don't want to solve them. They don't want to fix them. They like the division, right? When you see that those people protesting in Minnesota, these people are fucking, they're just puppets. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have no idea why they're out there even protesting. They don't know that this problem could be solved inside of a day. But they don't want to do it, you know. So anyway, sorry that's a long answer, Joe Friday, but I really appreciate, man, taking the time to put your comment in there, man. So I'm going to read all your stuff. You guys want to get your comments read? Put in comments like that, man. Joe's just fucking killing it, man. What a great comment. You got more than stuff. Again, you guys in the stream, hit the like button, add discussion. We're talking about Traitors and Terrorists today. Tariffs and traitors today, right? Process is killing this country, guys. And Trump, again, we're talking about Trump, how Trump is not doing what he campaigned on. I just told you guys how we could solve the illegal immigration problem inside of a day. And he won't do any of it. He's not interested. And this is, again, you guys are essentially paying for Trump to run around the country and just find the criminals, right? You guys are probably paying 10 times what it would cost to get these people out of the country. Trump could do it with E-Verify in 1 day. 1 day. And it's a federal thing, right? Because every employer is required to pay employment taxes to the federal government. We are required, right? If all of our employees' information had to run through the Social Security Administration, the problem would be solved like that. Tell your congressperson, tell them to quit being a fucking bitch and tell them to fix this problem instead of saying, oh, I don't know what to do. Industries will be decimated. Like, so what? That is what we voted for. That is the law of the land. So, all right, Joe Friday, V2M, again, says 2019 paid roughly $5.9 billion in federal income tax, $16.2 billion in Social Security, and $3.8 billion in Medicare taxes. However, as a net fiscal drain of $68,000 per person. And again, Joe, I don't know if those numbers sound a little bit, the $68,000 per person number sounds a little bit high to me. But again, I don't know. And the fact that you put all those numbers there, I'm guessing you got this data from somewhere. So if you could, cite your source, man. Let me know what your source is for that. Because again, the numbers that are paid in seem pretty low to me, and the number that is paid out seems kind of high, if I'm being completely honest. So. But man, I love the information. 68,000 per head lost annually on 20 to 40 million. Yeah, dude, like I said, I don't know what exactly is going on there. But again, cite your source if you could. I think it's a fantastic set of stats there. And when you cite the number 20 to 40 million, I think your number there is accurate. A lot of people say that when there's 10 million illegals in here. No, there's way more. We got people that have been coming in since the early 2000s. It's been a big problem. So okay. Keep going. Sorry, guys. You guys got some great comments in here. Okay. John Brad says, "Who is he fooling? He isn't married." Okay, dude. I don't know. I'm sure you're talking about. I hope you're not talking to me, man. I'm quite married. Okay. Joe Friday says, 1.6, 2.7 trillion lost to illegals annually. And again, like I know that there is probably going to be loss, and especially when you factor in sending Tom Holman around with ICE and the Border Patrol all over America, like that's a losing proposition. Like that's what no person that had a business that needed to make money would fucking do that. It makes no sense. You would go to the solution that solves your problem with the least amount of effort, right? And Trump is doing the exact opposite. He's taking the longest path, using the most money because it's not his money. It's your money and it's my money. And again, as taxpayers, y'all should be fucking pissed that this guy is running around doing that kind of stuff. Like it's wildly inefficient. Okay, user TTB BR549. This man gets it because now he has trolls. Yeah, I guess so. Trolls are a good sign. All right, Joe Friday. Sources posted. All right, Joe, man, I appreciate it, dude. Again, great comment, Joe. I really appreciate your comment. Okay, let's see. This is Kendra001. Oh my God, happy. Chad 2693. Elect a clown, expect a circus. Yeah, I get. But again, so Chad, again, people like to make these comments like, oh, this innocuous one sentence comment. You know, it's like, well, what's the alternative, right? So let's say we elected Kamala Harris and said, what would the country look like if that were the case? Like, put in the comments. Would the border, what would be happening to the border right now? The border would not be secure. So you'd still have 2.5 million people coming in every year, right? The cost of your housing would go up because no one's planning for this many people to come into the country every single year, right? Congress would continue to do nothing about it. There would be no exposure. All your talking heads on Fox would be like, oh, the border's unsecure, and would be doing nothing, right? MSNBC, CNN, all your fucking cucks on X, all these guys would be saying the same shit. Oh, the border, and nothing would happen. All your politicians, oh, the border, we got to secure this thing. Oh, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have hearings, right? I've got the list in here of all the people that had fucking hearings in the last 10 years, and what happened to every one of your congressional hearings was nothing. Fucking nothing. Millions of dollars wasted, tons of media exposure, tons of, talking about an issue that they had no intention of fixing, right? And illegal immigration is a perfect one. Like, you guys just have been fucking bought and sold this bag of bullshit. And again, your politicians aren't solving anything for you. Nothing. And when they don't solve anything, they just run on, well, if you vote for this person, it would have been worse, right? And the truth is, it doesn't matter who you guys vote for. No one's fixing anything, right? No one's going to fix nothing. Like, you guys get a little bit of a tax cut, right? Maybe you get a little bit of taxes back. Like, everything just seesaws constantly. Anyway, James Comer and Jim Jordan are the two guys I want to talk about. And again, I'm a Republican. I put my biases out there. I voted for Trump twice now. These two guys are Republicans, and they are fucking traitors to this country. You cannot waste this much time on the issues that these guys have wasted our time on and not do anything with it. I'm stunned that these guys are still in office, okay? Again, as an employer, if I hired someone that did this little work or did this much work with zero to show for it, I'd fucking fire them like immediately. They would not work for me. But again, they get paid $174,000 a year as people in Congress, and we pay for it. It's fucking wild, guys. Okay, Skiffman Van, E2C. So explain how you pass the tariffs on to our customers. Okay, cool. So again, I've done this many times, guys. Again, for those of you that heard this, my spiel on how this works, bear with me. So I appreciate the comment. I like when people ask me direct questions. You're going to get my attention right away. So again, there's now that the channel's grown, we have a lot more people that come into these streams. There's the super chat thing. There's the super gift thing. You want your comment read right away, just hit that thing up, and I'm happy to delve in your comment. But I always take time for good comments. This is a great one. Okay, here's how tariffs work in my business. Okay, again, I import hardware. I import hundreds of thousands of dollars from hardware from India every year, okay? I get it in. I generally get a shipment in maybe every other month, maybe once a quarter, something like that. So you got to remember, I'm bringing in, one of my orders might be 5,000 American dollars. It might be, 10,000 American dollars, whatever it is, okay? What happens is, in order for me to have something made overseas, right? I have to have some kind of a relationship, right? I got to understand the language, the culture, the manufacturing. There's a lot of things you understand just in order to be able to operate in the third world, right? My wife's from India, so we speak the language and know the area, the culture very well. So here's how it works. When I'm buying, say, a piece of, here, I got something here. I'll show you guys. Let's go with, here, hold on one second, guys. I actually got some hardware on my bench here. Let's go with these. So these are two Greek key pulls, okay? So I've got AIDS. These are called Greek key pulls. And again, I don't know what these sell on our website for. I don't know what I pay for them off the top of my head, okay? So if you guys go to splendidcrow.com, you can find these. You'll see them, and you can see what we sell them for. I have no idea, okay? Here's how it works. So this one piece of hardware I'm going to have made, right? This is actually what's called laser cut, right? So this isn't cast, right, which is what a lot of hardware is. It's actually laser cut. So you're going to have a solid piece of brass that's going to be 3/8 of an inch thick, and a laser CNC is going to go in and cut it all out. And on the back side, they're going to essentially weld on these stems, right? That's kind of how they do this. So this will say cost me, let's just say it costs $5, right? And again, it probably costs $3, right? $5 is easier to work with. Let's go $5. This cost me $5. Okay, now The quantity at which I buy these determines what I pay from the manufacturer, okay? And these terms are very important, guys. I don't know that people understand the difference between a manufacturer and a distributor, manufacturer and a wholesaler, manufacturer and retail, right? These terms are like, I think they purposely confuse people, all right? So I buy directly from the manufacturer. That's my relationship. I pay $5 for one of these, okay? Now, if I buy 100 of these, it's $5 because that's my minimum, right? Because the guy over there, right? And people don't understand that there's a whole fucking industry over here in every country that makes shit, right? So just like we make stuff here in America, they make stuff over there. The way we have to negotiate on price for things, they have to negotiate for price on things. And I don't think that, again, people understand this. I buy 100 of these, $5 a piece, right? So what is that? $500, right? If I buy 1,000 of these, then I'm paying $250, right? So I'm going to pay significantly less. And just these are just, I don't know, these aren't exact numbers. I'm just doing the math for you guys. So I get 1,000 of these for $250, right? Now we're talking, what is that? 25 grand, right? So my guy over there is making me $100,000 worth of hardware a year, all right? And I'm just one guy, right? But I'm a big guy, right? And where I fit in his business plan, I got two manufacturers over there, okay? Where I fit in the grand scheme of their production every year means something, okay? So if this guy is doing $100,000 of business with me, maybe I'm in the middle. Maybe he's got accounts that are 200,000. Maybe he's got accounts that are 10,000, right? So they're all of us. Let's say I'm in the middle. Trump comes in and he says, you know what? We're going to put a 25% tariff on India, which is what we have right now. I then go to, I got to look at exactly what I'm paying. So if I sell this for $5, or if I buy this for $5, I sell this for 50. Okay, so I marked it up 10 times, right? I then go to my manufacturer and I say, you know what? Like, if I got to pay a 25% tariff on this $5 product, right? 25% of $5 is going to be, what's our quick math here? What's it, like $1.25, something like that? So we'll call it $1.25. So now I go from paying $5 to $6.25. All right, I sell this for $50. Now I can choose to pass that cost directly onto my consumer, right? Because I sell a luxury product, I can probably just raise my prices like that, no big problem, okay? Now, if I just say, you know what, I'm gonna eat all of it as the manufacturer, $1.25 on something I sell for $50 that I'm paying $5 for, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I can just pass the cost on, or I can eat the cost. It's not gonna hurt me one way or another, okay? Because the markup is so high. This is the thing that I need you guys to understand about manufacturing in the third world. You guys don't understand how cheap it is to make stuff in places like China, in Vietnam, in India. Like, all they have are people, and their people, they need jobs, and they pay them nothing, right? There's no regulations over there. So again, now I got a choice. Do I take this product and just eat the $1.25 myself? Or do I say to the manufacturer, hey, dude, like, this is going to impact my business. Like, say this, I were to sell this for $10, right? I can't sell it. Like, it's much less margin, right? I can then go to my manufacturer and say, manufacturer, like, I can't sell as much of this product because we got a 25% tariff on this. I can't eat all of that. I need you to eat some of this, okay? He's going to look at his situation and he's going to say, where does Eric fit inside of my overall revenue for the year, my production for the year? He's got people, he's got employees, he's got marketing, right? He's got all the same shit that we got here, you know? So he has to evaluate, okay, well, yeah, I still want to sell into America, right? America is the greatest market that's ever existed. I just told you guys, handbags go for 30 to 50% more in America than they do in France, right? Or over in Singapore, right? Everybody wants to sell here. So he could also say, well, you know what? I don't need Eric's business that bad. Maybe I can sell his product into Europe, okay? He's going to take a hit on how much he can sell it for in Europe. Or he can eat 5%, 10%. He can eat something, okay? Now, the company that brings that stuff in here, in this case is UPS, DLH, right? These are the carriers that are going to come from India into America, right? These guys are taking payment and then giving the money, the tariff, to the Border Patrol, okay? Believe it or not, these guys are eating a chunk of it too, okay? Because they want the business from Asia, or excuse me, from India, right? They need to get that business. So everybody is eating a little bit of this. So when your Nobel laureate economist says that 90% of the tariffs are being paid by the Americans, they know not what the fuck they're talking about. And I'm tired of these people going on Fox News and CNN saying the American consumer is taking it up the ass. Because the truth is that yes, you are taking it a little bit up the ass, but you at least got some Vaseline, okay? It's not no lube like these guys are saying. So this is how tariffs really work, okay? So I hope that's clear to everyone. If you guys need more questions about it, this is how it really works. It's not just, oh God, the American the American consumer, they're going to pay it. Because again, I need to be able to sell my product. And again, because I sell a luxury product, I can mark the price up and sell it, and I'm going to be fine. If this was a much lower margin product and it was more difficult to sell, I'd have to be very, very careful about passing that cost on to my consumer, because I don't want to lose the consumer, and I don't want to lose my position in the market of hardware, the market of furniture. And if you piss off too many of your customers, guess what? They go someplace else, right? And a lot of people think that because we have the internet that everyone just price shops everywhere and there's no loyalty in customers. There is a wild amount of loyalty in the customer base. So I hope this is helpful. This is what you're not going to hear on X. You're not going to hear from the talking heads on the news, because they don't fucking do this, okay? And the people they bring on don't really do it either, okay? So there you go. That's the most comprehensive explanation of how tariffs really work when you're an actual manufacturer and an actual importer, okay? So again, I hope that's worth something to somebody. Okay, Canon USMC, I guess United States Marine Corps, I hope. Very cool, man. I hope you're a vet. Okay, your lab supported must be French. No, it's probably from China. Again, it's impossible. And people, I get a lot of people in here that'll say, oh, you've got foreign-made stuff, therefore everything you say is bullshit. You know, it's like I've never said that we can't have any imports, right? I've said it many times, like, let everyone bring their materials into America, no tariff, right? You just can't manufacture in the third world, right? Then you would have companies that made lamps, right? You would have companies that make my treadmills that are over here and my bikes that are over here, right? My weight rack over here. You would have American businesses that do that shit, and people would buy those American products because you didn't have the option, right? People wouldn't know any better, right? And they would just buy what is available. But because you can buy a cheap piece of shit from China, most people will, you know? So I hope that makes sense. All right, but Canon, I appreciate your comment, dude. Okay, 4 agreements, K6L, okay, message redacted, Abyssinia? Trump is dumb. Yeah, I know, a lot of people think that too. Okay, Jimmy Shankuski, you don't deal directly with India or have any real understanding of importing. Okay, like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I literally married an Indian woman. Like, we had two places that we buy fucking hardware from. Like, do you want me to show you receipts? Like, do I need to go pull out my statements from UPS, all the checks that I have to write to them every time I get hardware? Do I have to, like, show you the emails and all the models and shit that I do on my computer? Like, I don't know what else to tell you guys, you know? So, Jimmy, I can't convince you, man. So, all right, let's see. You're being dishonest. Okay, Jimmy, well, tell me where I'm being dishonest, dude. I'll go back and forth with you, man. I'd love to. Okay, do you think what ICE is doing is good? No, I don't. I don't think it's necessary. Again, I told you guys, just implement E-Verify and everyone leaves on their own. And if ICE really wanted to get people, all they got to do is go to the meatpacking plants, go to the housing sites, go to the restaurants, or go to the hotels. That's it. That's where 70% of these people work. But ICE doesn't go into any of those places because, again, in June of last year, Trump got the message from big business like, hey, fuck off, man. Don't be coming to our housing, our construction sites. Don't be coming to our restaurants. Don't be coming to our hotels, and don't be coming to our meatpacking plants, right? I know for a fact Tyson told him, you get the fuck out of here. And Trump's gone, you know? So, yeah. Okay, Andrew K. Again, I appreciate your comment, dude. Okay, Maurice Meadows, I'm doing really well. Thanks, President Trump. Okay, good. Tyrone Bradshaw, good to see you again. Okay, so we got a lot of these comments. Okay, we're going to go with Jimmy here because he's arguing with me. So, okay, Jimmy says, it's obvious you're a bottom-feeding scumbag. Okay, again, the comments are hilarious. Like, people just come in here, they put comments in here. They have no knowledge of all they can do is just throw insults in there. And, I'm glad you guys like this kind of stuff, but we got people in here like Joe Friday who actually puts real information in here and actually wants to have a conversation. Is this what it is? Like, a lot of people just like to get me to comment on their stuff and react to it. Like, you guys can't offend me. Like, I know what I do. And again, you go to my website, go to theresplendentcrow.com, look at my business, go to modernwoodwriter.com, go to theresplendent.home.com. You go to all my websites, see everything that I sell. And again, it's all furniture, it's all hardware. I'm not some cuck on here trying to sell you guys, a master class, right? Here's how you can be rich. Here's how you can make furniture. Here's how you can blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to, talk about all my sponsors. I'm sponsored by Leg Lamp. I'm sponsored by McLaren. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just own a business and I employ people. So I think this is good information. All right, Joe Friday's back. Data from 66 white, 21 black, 51 Mexican American, 44 Hispanic sex offenders provided information on family values and attitude towards women. All groups have a strong association between adherence to more traditional values and Mechista astrobes. I'm not sure that Mechista, I've never even heard that word. Okay, however, there are 2 factors in attitudes regarding Aguilaranianism, not sure what that is. We're associated in Anglo-American, but not Hispanic populations. This difference app. Okay, you're putting a lot of information in there, and again, I appreciate it. I'm not quite sure exactly what you're saying. Your data set seems awfully small, but again, I appreciate it. Okay, Fred Chambers, 7030. Forget all that. I'm a businessman. How can I make some money? Forget all that. I'm a businessman. How can I make some money? All right, Fred Chambers, what's your business, man? Let me know. John Howard, 1911. Trump owes no political favors to donors. It's cute. They hate him because they can't control him. Again, I think that Trump's wildly controlled. I don't know how you could argue that he's not. Again, I just told you guys how. I literally just explained to you guys how Trump could solve the immigration problem in one day. Like, you think Trump doesn't know this? Like, are you kidding me? Like, Trump knows exactly why this would work. The best example is, and again, don't take my word for this, guys. Go on Google, go on Grok, go on and just research what I'm telling you. It's all 100% factual based. The first state that really hit hard with the E-Verify was Florida, right? Ron DeSantis signed it into law. He was going to make it across the state, right? But what he did, which is wildly convenient, and again, this is business stuff. This is how business people operate. Okay, what he did is he said, you know what, E-Verify is going to be across the board. Well, what immediately happened was the job sites became empty, right? And you guys go back and look at the news; it was all over the news. Well, they went and they ratified the law, right? So they ratified the law stating that E-Verify only applies if you have 25 or fewer employees, right? So your small businesses, your mom and pops, they weren't affected, right? Well, what happened is that every large construction company then said, well, you know what? We are an S corp. We're whatever ABC construction company. S corp. Well, we're going to make a whole bunch of LLCs, right? So what they do is they take their 100 employees and then they would break them up into 5 LLCs with 20 employees. Well, suddenly E-Verify isn't necessary. So then you go back to what I was telling you guys earlier in the stream. You just do the I-9 for everyone, and E-Verify doesn't apply. So they watered it down so much it became ineffective. So again, just federally make it requirement to hire people in America. Trump could do it with a stroke of a pen. He can do it with an executive order. But what are the repercussions, guys? The repercussions are the job sites would be empty. The restaurants wouldn't be able to find workers. The hotels wouldn't be able to find workers. The meatpacking plants would not be able to have workers. And again, suddenly all the people that don't want to do those jobs would be the ones that would have to do those jobs. They would have to pay you guys the wages that I'm telling you they have to pay you. They'd have to provide the working conditions that I've been telling you guys about. Like Trump can do all this stuff, but he won't do it because, again, the people that pay him, right, are people like Mary Matelson, humongous casino magnate, right? Where do you think all her workers come from? The other donors are going to be like Bill Pulte. Fucking Bill Pulte, right, I think he's over HUD, or yeah, I think he's over HUD. Again, owns a massive construction company. Like, you got to be crazy to think that Trump isn't controlled by his donors. Like, it's it's insane. Okay, let's see. Nick Hilbert, DMT. Okay, I'm not a DMT guy. This is Joe Friday's again here. To be related to the distinction between macho and machismo, Matista attributes that are made of Hispanic culture. The distinction has implemented treatment of Hispanic sex offenders. Okay, so you're talking about different kinds of cultures. All right, well, I'm not quite sure what that's got to do with what we're talking about here today. Xander Cruz, 7314. The big question is, what are they going to do? What are they going to have to do with the money gained from tariffs since all the money was received illegally? No, they're not going to do it. You guys are going to see any of that money. Again, Trump is a master of what's called credible threats, right? It's the idea of putting something out there, baiting everybody into thinking that it's going to happen, and then he just fucking reels you guys in. And then when you're about to finally get the thing that you want, suddenly there's a process that says you can't have it. We can't get rid of illegal immigrants, because we can't go into states. States are fighting us. They got all these laws and these rules. It's very difficult. The Trump tariff thing. Oh God, well, I was going to give you all this tariff money, but again, now that we got the rules and process, Supreme Court stepped in. Now you guys can't have that. It's like the guy is just taking L after L after L after L, and it's really sad. It's so sad, guys. Like it's wild to me. Okay, but Xander Cruz, man, it's a great question. Like I said, I don't think you guys are going to see that money. There is a mechanism which I read about this morning to where the federal government could distribute out that money. There is a way for them to do it, but again, it's going to take years to line up all the payments, right? Send out all the checks, and it just be a massive clusterfuck. I'll be shocked if you guys see anything, or if any of that money goes to any of these states, right? Your piece of shit Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, right? The guy that's in the Epstein files, was in business with Epstein and lied to everyone about knowing Epstein after Epstein was convicted as a child trafficker. That piece of shit bought a whole bunch of essentially debt obligations for these tariffs, right? He basically banked on the fact that the Supreme Court of the United States would not allow tariffs to come into play, and he's going to make a shit ton of money off all of these debt obligations, or what are essentially insurance payments from those tariffs being ruled null and void, right, or illegal. So yeah, it's fucking, it's so crazy, guys. All right, Jimmy Shikoshi. I wish I could pronounce that. Okay, you're telling people to disregard people who are far more educated than you while you speak like a high school dropout. I am a high school dropout. That's the whole point. That's why people watch me. Again, that's why people are willing to listen to a guy that's more like them, right? I didn't go to college. I didn't do it, but yet I figured out how to make some money. I figured out how to not be poor. I figured out how, yeah, I got to work my ass off. I had to move around a bunch, but I figured this shit out. My opinions on things are from an opinion of I do shit, right? I'm not talking about, you know, what I learned in a textbook, right? I'm not talking about what the previous Nobel laureates before me had done. I'm not talking about my previous business owners from, you know, my long lineage of business owners in my family. You know, I've been doing this for, you know, 10 decades. I'm, you know, whatever, Junior the third business owner. I'm not that person. So, and again, I actually do the work. You know, so that's what I talk about. That's why when I show you guys how to make furniture, again, I have a furniture company. I build furniture all the time, right? That's what I do. My job isn't to get clicks from you guys. My job isn't to, you know, push my sponsorships onto you, my fucking Ford sponsorships and my VPNs, you know, and my better health and my food, you know, services. I don't push that shit on you guys. I don't push anything on you because I have a real company. I don't need to, right? So anyway, go to thesplendidcrow.com, look at my furniture. You can't afford it, but go look at it anyway. It'll look good on my analytics on Shopify. So thank you. Okay, who else we got in here? Okay, he says I'm so full of crap. All right, we got San Diego 904s in here. F'd in the A. Woohoo! Okay, Jimmy, again, you got to bring some real content here, man. All you're doing is just talking for the sake of talking. Joe Friday says treatment must confront this distortion and should encourage and promote macho attitudes and confronting and clarifying machismo and machista attitudes that rest on false sense of manhood. Again, I don't quite know what you're saying, dude. Again, you're speaking like way over me. Again, I didn't graduate high school. You know, I need you know, stick to four-letter words. No, I don't know if what you're talking about is the fact that, you know, talking about things like masculinity and the lack of masculinity in the American culture today, or the, you know, what they call toxic masculinity. I don't know if that's kind of what you're talking about, but anyway. So okay, we got Luke GT7. You've been complaining for like 3 days straight. That's what we do. That's what I do here. But again, Luke, if you look at my other streams, I'm also showing you guys how to make things. Oh my God, if somebody actually makes shit, you know, I do it in the live chat format. Also, I've been talking about Epstein because, again, I care about our politicians being in a network of people that like to traffic children. Like, I'm not okay with the idea of little girls getting diddled by people in power and nobody talking about it, or them being unaccountable, right? Again, I don't like that. When I talk about people like Trump, I don't like that our commerce secretary is in business with maybe the greatest child sex trafficker that we've ever known about. I mean, I'm just not okay with that. I don't like the fact that our president has close links to these kind of people. You know, Trump bought Miss Universe back in 2015, which also had Miss Teen USA. I don't like that these people like to operate in this orbit where little girls are wildly impressionable. You know, they want to be models, they want to be movie stars, they want to be singers, they want to be, you know, in around all of these things that, you know, women I don't know what the word is, but they look up to these people, right? Singers and models and all that kind of stuff. And guys love to be around these little girls. I think it's fucking wrong. And I want to talk about it because you need to, if you're going to hang out around dirty people, you become dirty, right? Even if there's no credible allegations, or there's no, you know, smoking guns, right? You hang out with dirty people, motherfucker, you're dirty. That's how I see it. So, Luke, if you want to hang out on Jeffrey Epstein, and because there's no evidence that you're a child fucker, again, I'm going to say, hey, why are you hanging around with a child fucker? You know, I don't like that this guy's diddling little girls. Why are you hanging around with that, you fucking piece of shit, right? We need more of that. And I don't hear Trump saying enough of that kind of stuff. Like, again, we got rid of Tom Pritzker, right? Tom Pritzker's head of Hyatt Corporation. That guy at least stepped down, right? He's the head of a massive hotel empire. And again, the pressure was too much for him to be the head of Hyatt. But again, no problem with Trump being president. No problem with Howard Lutnick being Secretary of Commerce. Again, no problem. Bill Clinton, former president. Again, these guys all hanging around with the same guy. There's all this dirty content around this thing. And the idea that our government is essentially letting this stuff happen because it's good for their intel, right? It's good to get dirt on people like Bill Gates because maybe you can get, a backdoor to the Microsoft, platforms for the federal government, right? For the CIA, for the FBI, or whatever that might be. Or maybe you're using, I don't know, you're using the people in Hollywood to get access to other people. Like, I don't like this, right? And again, if you give the Department of Justice or the FBI or the CIA information on dirty people, you're allowed to be a criminal, okay? And again, I know this stuff happens all the time. I don't like it, And again, we have enough information. There's enough smoke here that people need to talk about this kind of stuff. And again, when people say, oh, there's no crimes, oh, this is all bullshit, you focus on this too much. Like, people need to focus on shit more often, right? Again, I'm not worried about the fucking day-to-day. My kids have moved out. I can focus on whatever I want to focus on. So that's what I got. All right, but that's Luke. But again, I appreciate the comment. Hit the like button, add the discussion. All right, who's this? We got Mike Mentina Lives in here. Mike, I've never seen you before. Thanks for being here, man. Okay, what we screwed the poor line about 9/11. Yeah, 9/11 is a whole other discussion. I mean, again, Howard Lutnick. Here we go again. Like, if you, I guess, want to go full conspiracy, Howard Lutnick again, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, lied about it on television, right? Jeffrey Epstein gets convicted of being basically a pedophile, and the guy goes into business with him after this happens in like 2012. Goes and takes his family, hangs out with Jeffrey Epstein, what was it, like 2015 or something like that? Like, what the fuck is going on? Howard Lutnick also always went to work in one of the towers in 9/11. I forget which one it was, but he went to work in one of the towers, and again, he had the top 2 floors. Like, wildly successful dude. That day, he took his kids to school. He never takes his kids to school. So if you want to go like all conspiracy, if you look at the Jeffrey Epstein files, they also talk about 9/11, right? You've got people in Saudi Arabia in the Epstein files, So there's a lot of, like, again, I don't try to go full conspiracy, but I do believe that Jeffrey Epstein was a blackmail operation and a honeypot operation that is sponsored by the CIA, the FBI, and Mossad, and probably something like MI6. All these people have a massive network of people that they trap with little girls and this debaucherous shit, and they're using it for access and control. And I honestly think that, But again, Trump is no different. Trump is in the same circle, and he's just as dirty as anybody else, So, but there's your conspiracy for the day. But Mike, man, great comment. I appreciate it. Okay, user TTB BR549. WEF, this is the World Economic Forum. You will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, that's kind of like as a woodworker and a person that likes to make things, like, you fucking guys need space, man. You need room. Like, you need to be able to move around. And I think that ever since we let China in the World Trade Organization and convinced everyone to go to college, one of the other things that we did when we convinced everyone to go to college was basically to get people into apartments, right? Oh, you're going to live in the city. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have access to everything. You can just walk here. You can just get an Uber. How would it be nice? You can live in a beautiful apartment with a large community. We'll put, pools in there, we'll put walking paths, we'll put a shopping district, we'll put bars, we'll put everything that you need so you can basically live in a 15-minute city, right? You guys ever heard about that? I think that when we did that, we killed what it means to make shit in this country, right? Why would anyone aspire to be a woodworker, or why would people aspire to be a car? You got no fucking garage, right? Oh, you can just drive electric cars. You don't need to worry about it. Like, I think that this killed a lot of the creativity in our country and our nation. And I don't know how people get creative anymore. I don't know what you guys do. You got no fucking space. Everyone lives in an apartment. Everyone's on the computer. Everyone's got a subscription to everything. Why would you fix anything? It just comes to you from China. Like, how many times have you guys done this? This is fucked up, but how many times have you guys done this? So I'm like looking for something and I can't find it, and I look around maybe I look for 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. I look around, God, I can't find this thing. Well, Amazon will have it delivered tomorrow, so I'll just buy it again. It's like $10. How many times have you guys done that, okay? That is not a good thing, guys. I hate to tell you guys, that is a horrible way to go through life, right? You just like, fuck it, I'll just get it on Amazon because it's dirt cheap and it'll be here faster than I can find it. Why would I waste time trying to find something in my, dirty house where shit's scattered everywhere? Like, maybe I should fucking clean my place up and find the thing. But no, I'll just buy it off Amazon. So there's some good ones for you. Okay, let me see where I'm at in the comments. Holy smokes, guys, I am way off of comments. All right, I'm gonna get caught up. I'm gonna go halfway here, and I'm gonna get caught up. Sorry, guys, if you put in a comment before. I can't keep up with all the comments. It's just literally impossible. But you guys have hit the like button a bunch. I appreciate it. We're up to 20 likes. What are we at? 60 or almost 70 minutes. Okay. Again, I told you guys I gave you 2 hours this morning. I want to get this thing to 50 likes. That's kind of my goal. Very difficult to do. So if you're in the stream, hit the like button, add to the discussion, hit the subscribe button, all that kind of fun stuff. All right, we got Riverfront Baits in here. I'm going to make sure you're not going to go anywhere on YouTube because what you said just said to me, I thought, okay, well, Riverfront Baits is the first comment I made to you, but I appreciate it. All right, Luke Becker says, okay, Riverfront Baits, I'm sharing your channel because that's what I'm sharing your channel because that's what I'm going to veterans. Like Riverfront Baits, I don't know what you're saying there, dude. Again, wild supporter of the veterans. I do all kinds of things for the veterans. So it's very important. I mean, I tried to join the army when 9/11 happened. I wanted one of the guys who was going to go fight terrorism, right? I'm going to go kill terrorists, and I couldn't duck walk, so they wouldn't take me, right? I literally had to go get my ACL reconstructed, the whole 9 yards. It wouldn't happen. I went on to do ultra marathon events, 24-hour endurance events. I went on to do all kinds of crazy shit, but I wasn't good enough for the military, but I tried, you know. So again, I'm one of these people that advocates for our veterans, for getting these fucking people off the streets, getting these people into homes. And as far as I'm concerned, when you've served your country, you put in your 20 years, guess what? You're done. You don't need to work anymore. The American taxpayer will take care of you, because what veterans do that most of us will never understand is they agreed to do the ultimate sacrifice, right? They agreed to go fight for this country. You know, they agreed to fight people foreign and domestic, right? They agreed to put their lives on the line in a way that most people can't understand. Everyone thinks that, oh God, I would do that, I'd do that, but you didn't, right? You thought, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be some dumb fucking redneck from Mississippi, you know, going to the military. Let the fucking poor people do that work, right? That's how most people think about veterans, right? And I'm not okay with that, right? There should be a special line item in the budget, Veterans Affairs, right? And when these people, you know, say they can't go in to see a doctor, that's bullshit, right? Fucking veteran wants to go and see the doctor, like, you got 7 fucking days. You get them taken care of right away, right? And the money is not an issue. It doesn't matter what it fucking costs. You take care of them. They put in their 20, get them taken care of. Like, that's how I kind of see, like the homes, right? Again, get them into a fucking home. Oh, they got to pay for it. No, we will pay for it. And this would spur patriotism. I'm also a big advocate of people needing to go to the military, right? You don't want to go to the military? You think the military is for poor people? Get fucked. You're going to go serve. That means if you're J.D. Rockefeller's kid, you're fucking going to serve in the military. Elvis served, right? You can fucking serve, right? All kinds of people need to go to the military. There's one thing I like about a country of Israel is that everybody serves. It's wildly important. Amazing patriotism over in a country like that, okay? So we need to do that here, and that would help our veterans, right? You have people in politics that understand what it means to go through boot camp, right? You'd have veterans and people in your high political offices that understand what it's like to have whatever, shin splints, to have busted up arms, busted up elbows. Maybe you're missing a limb because it got blown off over in Iraq, right? Our politicians will understand that when you send our armada, our navy over to fucking Iran, right? You better be willing to fucking send everyone in America to their death, right? But not send it over to fight for a country that fucking nobody will ever go to, that no one gives a fuck about, right? Only people in power that have never served are willing to do that kind of thing. And that's why when I go to my traitors, which I haven't gone to, which I'll get to here shortly, most of the people on my traitor list have never served. They're all too happy to send Americans to die for whatever their fucking pet cause is, but they will never do it, their kids will never do it, and none of them have ever served, okay? So I got a real fucking problem when people talk about veterans as though they don't matter, or they're just another fucking group of people. They're not. They're wildly distinct from most people that live in America today. So put that in your pipe and smoke it there, buddy. All right, Luke Beckett 5213. I never said I served, dumbass. No one ever said you served, dumbass. All right, Archer Q2M. Just remember, taxation is stuff. Remember that again, you're being taxed right now, guys. You're being taxed at a rate that is wild. I mean, 22.5% is what you guys pay in federal taxes, right? Like, all of us have to pay fucking payroll taxes. We got to pay Medicare, healthcare, Social Security, all that kind of stuff. And most of that shit ain't going to be there for you guys. So what the fuck are you paying it for? Like, all this money that you guys send out to the third world, has the third world gotten any better? What the fuck are you doing sending that money out there? Only a fool would give this federal government money. No business owner would ever spend money this way. And again, Trump's a fucking business guy, and he wastes money hand over fist. I just got done telling you guys that when he sends ICE over to the country to look for the criminals, again, this fucking guy is wasting your tax dollars left and right. He could sign E-Verify today. It's one thing he can actually do. Every business in America has to provide E-Verify documentation for all of their employees. And guess what? All the illegals are gone. No business owner is going to risk their business to hire an illegal immigrant. It wouldn't fucking happen, right? The problem's done, but it's not going to happen. It won't happen. So, yeah. What do you got about that one? So, see, Ahmed Belton 8139. Belton, man, good to see you. So we got some gifts in here. Is this GK Grass, man? Cool, dude. Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys doing this kind of stuff. And again, if you guys like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button, add the discussion. And again, we try to talk about a current event once a day. Again, from the perspective of someone, I didn't go to college. I didn't graduate high school yet. I found a way to start a business. We got 8 employees who do, low 7 figures in revenue. We've been doing this for 10 years now. So our business has lasted, right? I'm not trying to hawk VPNs to you guys. I'm not trying to hawk BetterHelp. I'm not trying to hawk anything. I'm not trying to hawk shit. I just talk to you guys about what it's like to run a business, my perspective as a business owner, talking about current events. I show you guys how to make furniture. You go to the Modern Woodrunner channel on YouTube. You'll see all the great furniture that we make, right? You guys want to know about hardware? You want to know how tariffs work? I talk about it as someone who actually does the work, right? I'm not a Nobel laureate. I don't have a PhD or an MBA or a master's degree. And I think that this content is way more relevant than listening to fucking Paul Krugman talk about tariffs. This is how I see it. And again, I think there's people on here that think that way. And if you're one of those people, man, hit the like button, because that's why I do this. I do this so other people know that you can do this. You don't have to just work a 9 to 5 forever, do a job you hate. You can own a business. You can do something that you can then pass down to your kids, right? You can do something. Maybe instead of throwing a shit ton of money in the stock market, maybe you can build a business and maybe retire off your business, right? Maybe you can make a product that some other company buys and you can retire off that product. People can do this work, it can be done. It's not impossible. All right, Lone Wolf and Cub, man, great name. This guy knows every illegal alien. You're so lucky to have his input. Has an illegal immigrant ever committed a crime in your fantasy land? Of course, everyone commits crimes. So Lone Wolf and Cub, again, no one is above reproach, right? We all know that anyone can commit a crime. But what I will say is that there's 2 ways to look at crime, right? So when an illegal immigrant comes into this country, they are immediately a criminal. And again, I'll take the Pepsi challenge with anyone on this stuff. We could cite the statute where it defines you as essentially a criminal. Now, when they get in this country, do they commit additional crimes? No, they don't. And again, some of them do. I'm not saying that but the vast majority of them do not commit any more crimes, because the truth is, guys, they want to operate in the shadows. They want to work. And again, I say this as an American all the time. The reason a lot of businesses want illegal immigrants over Americans is because they'll work 70, 80 hours a week. Not because they inherently work harder than Americans, but they've never had the opportunity to work so many hours and so many jobs for so much money, right? We take it for granted as Americans, right? This idea of working 40 hours a week. I've never worked 40 hours in my life. I've only worked 60, 70, 80-hour weeks my entire life. Even to this day, I do this, right? And technically, I even consider this to be work. This is part of my job in a way now. But the point is that these people, they come in, and all they see is opportunity. And again, Americans can't compete with that, right? But again, I told you guys, if you want to kick them all out, I've told you how to do it. Trump knows how to do it, but he doesn't want to do it because he knows that businesses all think the same thing. And I say this all the time to you guys. Why the fuck would an American business hire you? Why? There's no incentive to hire you guys. You bitch about everything. You can't get off your fucking phones. The skills you have aren't really applicable to what most businesses need. You're expensive to insure. You want top wages. You want top benefits. You want to get paid before you do the work. You don't want to prove yourselves. You want the money up front. You want everything up front. These people, they don't want any of that shit. So why the fuck do you think Trump isn't going to kick them out? Because no business wants to hire you guys. You're all going to be on fucking UBI. All of you. You're all going to be on welfare, and it's just going to step up. And eventually, you'll own nothing and be happy. You'll be happy to have a Netflix subscription and to be able to play Call of Duty all day long and smoke weed and live in a fucking apartment, look outside and see a brick wall from another apartment. This is the life you guys are going to create if Trump doesn't start getting these fucking people out of here. If you guys don't see 400% tariffs on all the Chinese and Vietnam shit, this is what's going to happen. Unless you guys are really good at what you do, you're all fucked. And again, I don't say this as to talk shit or denigrate anybody. I tell you guys, this is the only outcome. It's the only outcome. Especially you factor in AI. Now all you guys that are white collar that got college degrees, it wasn't enough that you got the same fucking degree that millions of other people got and you're wondering why you can't get paid. But now AI comes in and the starter level jobs, they're doing all the work. Why would a business hire you? Fuck, man. Do you know how much it costs to keep employees on staff? It's not like it's just your salaries. It's all the benefits. It's all the taxes and the fucking insurance, you guys. It's just, there's no reason to hire humans anymore. When the minute Tesla comes out with a robot, guess what? I'm buying all robots. If robots are 50 grand, why would I pay you 50 grand a year when I got to fucking deal with your bullshit at home, your phones, your weed, you fucking keeping you guys working, the insurance, the bullshit of all. Why do I deal? I get a fucking robot. Robot doesn't do any of that shit. Works for nothing. Like it's again, I'm being hyperbolic and I'm sounding like a complete asshole for a reason to prove a point. Okay, this is where I think it's going. So yeah. So again, I believe that from a small business owner's point of view, I understand how the illegal immigration really works and why nothing's being done about it. I understand how tariffs really work and why we're not doing what we're doing with the tariffs. Why the tariffs are just little itty bitty things, right? Instead of the big fucking massive thing that we need to protect your guys' way of life. So okay, let's go to a few more comments here. Okay, we have to Crystal Lackey. I am Charlie Kirk, TDS for sure. No, man, I don't have TDS. I think I'm pretty down the middle. All right, we've got Kenbo in here. Kenbo 1512. Listen to the Cardinals game day. Cool, man. Again, I'm not a sports guy, but Cardinals are a big deal here in St. Louis. St. Louis has a lot of Cardinal pride, a lot of baseball pride, and it's kind of cool. We also got the Blues here, the hockey team. A lot of hockey pride in this city as well. So, okay, let's see. Ahmed Bolton says it's exploitation. 100%, it is exploitation, and the truth is that it's exploitation on both sides, though, right? So when the poor person for the illegal immigrant comes into America, I just told you guys, they're having more opportunity than they've ever seen in their lives, and their wages are more, it's like fucking Shangri-La to them. So you could say they're being exploited, but they're making so much money and living 5 to a house, and then they're actually able to send tons of money back home, right? I think the number one form of revenue for the country of Mexico is American repatriated dollars, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like I'm sure many countries that it's that way as well. So again, these guys love it. It works out great for them. The businesses, however, are not hiring you guys. And I always tell you guys this: when you ship a job to the third world, they're paying those guys $2.50 an hour, no OSHA, no EPA, no transportation, no tort, none of that stuff. They should be paying you guys about $32.50 an hour, right? This covers your wages, your health care, your 401k, your OSHA costs, your EPA costs, all the costs associated with employing you, but they're not doing it. They're taking that $30 and they're giving it to people like Trump. They're giving it to people like Jim Jordan. They're giving it to people like fucking Mike Johnson. They're giving it to all these people so they can get the policy and the lack of policy to keep their operations going. And again, I say this as a small business owner. I'm a capitalist, but I know how you guys are being fucked every day. Like, it's just wild how much you guys take it up the ass, and it sucks, right? Again, if you're a wagey, right, you work a W-2 job, like, you're taxed to death. Your income is all the same, and it gets taxed at the same rate. You guys own a business? Guess we got all different kinds of income. It's taxed at all different kinds of rates. So again, I can write off my entire life as a business owner and pay even less taxes. And I want everybody to be able to do it. I want them guys to understand how you guys are being fucked. And the reason the tax code never changes in your favor is because, again, you guys don't pay any fucking taxes. You think you do, but you don't. I mean, big business pays a shit ton of taxes, but not nearly as much as they should. Like, why are we giving tax breaks to a company like Lockheed Martin, which makes planes and missiles and shit? Why do those guys get a tax cut when they're being paid by countries like Israel and Egypt for weapons and planes and all kinds of shit, which the taxpayer is sending Egypt money for to then give to the defense contractors? You guys are paying for all that shit. Like, it's such a racket, guys. And again, no one's gonna. The politicians aren't changing the laws, the tax codes, all these things to favor the American people, guys. And it's, again, I say this as a small business owner, dumb guy. Like, this is what I see, right? All right, more comments. So, God, guys, we got lots of comments here. I really appreciate everyone. Okay, we're gonna keep going through comments. Again, guys, if you want your comment read right away, just put it in a super chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna go through and look for the good comments, and I've got a limit of them. There's just too many of them. All right, Kenbo 1512, you had a good comment last time. Will Democrats provide solutions, not holding my breath? No. And again, Ken, what I'm saying is that the Republicans don't have a solution. The Democrats don't have a solution. What they do is they give you guys just a little taste of some, and they just rock the issue back and forth. It never gets solved. And again, as a business owner, I can't afford to not solve problems. It becomes death, right? If I let an employee be inefficient forever, guess what? I'm losing money on that employee. And say that's only 3% of my problem, right? Well, then I got air hoses that leak air, but I got 100 air hoses running around my shop. They all leak just a tiny bit. Well, now I got a compressor that's running whatever 50% more than it should. It's constantly kicking on. That's using energy, right? So then there's more money coming out of my pocket. Like say I got whatever, I'm buying paint, right? I'm buying paint from Sherwin-Williams. It cost me 58 bucks a gallon, right? Well, I could get the same product from a different vendor and maybe pay 56 bucks an hour, right? So I'm losing $2 on every gallon of paint by not being efficient with where I buy my product. Like all of these little tiny things add up to big things, which is why they always fix a little something over here and then they fix a little something over here, but it just fixes the problem that these guys fix. They'll create a problem and then create a solution, and it just seesaws the thing back and forth. And there's no solutions, guys. It's just little tiny fixes for problems that they create. And you guys think that you're getting a victory when your side solves a little tiny problem, right? And then the other people get voted to the office, and then they fix the problem that you were told was a problem, right? It's wild, guys. It sucks as a taxpayer. I see these kind of things. It just drives me crazy. So, all right, Trump Bunny 24. Trump Bunny, great name. Okay, he's mad because he jacked up his prices for tariffs and wants to cash in on Trump now. No, again, I don't think I jacked up my prices. We probably could have jacked up our prices. I got to talk to my wife about that. But here's what you guys want to talk about tariffs again? You want to talk about how markets work? Do you guys really want to go down this discussion? So what most people are going to understand is that there's different kinds of markets, right? So when you go to, let's talk groceries. Everyone knows groceries. And then we'll get on to hardware, okay? When you guys go to the grocery store, most of you guys go to Walmart, right? Which is why it's the biggest retail chain, right? You go to Walmart because they've got great selection and prices are cheap, right? The people that get money in their lives, they don't go to fucking Walmart, right? They're not going there. They don't give a fuck that you can buy hamburger for $7 a pound there, right? Where most of us go now is we go to the mid-tier, right? In our case, it's going to be like Schnucks, right? Is what we have here. Maybe it's going to be Publix if you live in the South, right? So you're going to pay a little bit more so that you don't have to deal with the riffraff, right? You don't want to be around a bunch of people. You don't want to have the wildest selection. You just want to have the best selection, right? So that's your mid-tier, right? Then you got your upper tier, right? So I told you guys we got Walmart's the lower tier. The mid-tier is going to be your Publix, Schnucks, right? So there's a tier above that, right? Which, again, this is my experience. The next tier above that is going to be your Whole Foods. And in our case, it's going to be what's called Deerbergs, right? Deerbergs, you can go there and buy $200 bottles of wine, right? And corn on the cob, right? So very cool grocery store. Whole Foods, again, everything's whatever, not modified. It's just wildly expensive, right? And it's curated. It's all organic, blah, 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 okay? My hardware is in the market of Whole Foods, right? So we sell the most expensive, beautiful hardware that there is. This is our market, okay? If my product, like whether I sell this for $50 or I sell it for $60, doesn't matter. My customer is going to buy it. If this product, because of tariffs, say a 25% tariff comes in, this product can actually move up market because of the tariffs all by itself. I don't have to jack up my prices. My competitors will do it for me, and then I can just follow them, okay? That's what happens with tariffs that you guys don't really get. So the people that are selling you guys products today, when Trump puts a tariff in there, immediately the people that make the product are going to increase their prices and blame it all on tariffs. Even though, like I told you guys earlier in my stream, on the back end, they're negotiating with the people they buy onions from. They're negotiating with the people they're buying wallpaper from. They're negotiating with all of these people to get their costs down. They're passing a lot of that cost on to you, but it's not the tariff. They're gouging you guys on prices. So when everyone says, oh, it's all the tariffs, if it wasn't for the tariffs, they wouldn't do this. No, they'll find another way to raise their prices. They're going to do whatever the market dictates. So when people say tariffs, I always say, no, it's not the tariffs. The businesses will use the tariffs as a reason they're raising your prices while they're negotiating with the people on the back end to eat some of that cost. The company wins twice. Not only do they get to raise your price up, but they're getting their product for less from the people. It's a massive scam, guys. And again, I hear people talk about this on like CNN from time to time. I don't hear many people talk about this on Fox News, which again, as an importer, I know how all this shit works. It makes perfect sense to me what's actually going on there. So again, we're not trying to make money on Trump. You know, it's a little more complicated. So I hope that's valuable to you guys. All right, Lone Wolf and Trump is not doing what he promised because he doesn't call you for your advice. Yeah, I know. I mean, like I said, Trump's a smart guy, man. He went to Wharton School of Business. He's, you know, his dad was successful. He's got a long list of successful people around him. He's going to have more information than I have. I'm just one dumb dude with an opinion, okay? All right, Maurice commits 5170. I'm so happy paying that I'm paid in taxes. No more pirates stealing our money. Okay, well, good luck, man. All right, Luke says, we are Americans. Can we stop bitching? Don't you know that the rest of the world is watching? When the eagle falls, the world falls. Yeah, that's 100%. You know, when American sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold, right? But this is the thing about tariffs. Like Trump is smart on this tariff thing. Like I'm a tariff guy. I've always been a tariff guy. A lot of people think tariffs are bad for this country. Again, you need 400% tariffs on the rest of the world. The rest of the world will eat most of that tariff because they want to sell into America. America will then get rich for that income. And guess what? The cost of everything you guys buy will get more expensive. But it gets more expensive because the businesses here that are having their shit made in the third world, they're going to want to make it here in America. So they're slowly going to transition manufacturing to America so that they can then get around those tariffs. People don't understand this. When you hire Americans and you make American products, you make American wages. And I know this because I have an American business, right? I can't pay people in the third world to make my shit because it would erode my brand, right? We are an American business. We make American products. We have a beautiful American lacquer coating that everyone loves us for. If I made my product in Vietnam, right, I'd be like everyone else, and that wouldn't it would tarnish my name. It would tarnish the what I could charge for my product because everyone would know, oh, it's no longer Eric making cabinets. It's no longer Nazar making cabinets. It's no longer Noe painting cabinets. It's Chang, Sim, and Ding or whatever the fuck their names are over there. Like it would tarnish the brand they're selling across, which is why I would never do it. So. Okay, let's go through more comments. Okay, good. How many more comments we got in here? Okay, man, we are still just going to town. All right, still going through comments, guys. We'll go through a few more, and then I'm going to get into our traders. I haven't had a chance to talk about traders. We got traders in here. Let me list them off for you guys so you guys get a little taste of it. So some of our traders that we have in this country that I wrote down that I want to talk about today. So trader number one is big business. Okay, that's trader number one. Now we'll talk politicians. Mike Huckabee is a horrible individual, right? If you guys watched this interview he did with Tucker Carlson yesterday, talking about Israel, this guy is a zealot. He doesn't give two shits about America. He has one allegiance, and that is not to America. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. After watching that interview, that guy can't be reasoned with. There's no person that can rationalize with that guy when you have Israel on the other side of it. Okay, Ted Cruz, villain. Randy Fine, villain. Lindsey Graham, mega villain. Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense, villain. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, villain. Tom Cotton, Senator in Arkansas, villain. Joe Biden, massive villain. And these people are just the worst. James Comer and Jim Jordan, also villains, right? And I can go through exactly why these people are villains or traitors to this country and what they're doing. They're not solving problems. They're making everything worse by either doing things that help our enemies, right, foreign countries, or they're actively not doing things that would help the American people. Therefore, what they're doing is at a detriment to the American people. So we can talk about all those things. So that's what I'm getting ready to talk about next. You guys like that kind of convo? Hang in here, and we'll go through a few more comments, and then I'm going to get into it. Okay, we got, is it Jovonic or Hovonic? We'll go with Jovonic 38. Okay, I'm a Marine vet. I got billed $5,000 for a blood test in Thailand. Yeah, that's fucked up, man. Like I said, I just had blood work done. Again, I don't have insurance, guys. Again, small business owner. Again, I'm super rich, right? I haven't had insurance in a decade, okay? So I went over to Quest. I had to get some blood work done, and it was $1,800 for one test, and then I think it was $1,300 for the follow-up test that I had to get. And here's the thing, guys. The doctors don't give a fuck what anything costs. The doctors have no idea what anything costs, So when I went back and told the doctor what it cost, even my doctor was shocked at how much that cost because they don't know. They have no idea. Because again, it's all handled by insurance. The doctors, their job is just to push. Their job is to push anything that keeps you guys coming back for more. So anyway, so this Jovonic 38. So man, I'm glad you're a vet. Like I talk about vets a lot on this cast. I hope you heard what I said earlier in the cast. If you hadn't, let me know, and I'd be happy to go over it again. But yeah, that's bullshit, man. You're getting a $5,000. I mean, you got fucking what do they call that? TRICARE, I think, something like that. And you're getting a $5,000 bill for fucking blood tests and Tylenol. That seems insane. And again, when you go to buy things with cash, the price is always different. You guys ever notice this? Like with insurance, the cost is like quadruple. But if you go in there and say, I don't have insurance, I got to pay cash, they magically give you an awesome price. But you got to make sure you get the insurance price first because a lot of these people, they're shisty. Right? They'll give you one price, and then you say, oh, wait, I don't have insurance. Then they'll give you the fucking cash price because they can't charge the same thing, So, because you'll have a receipt, right? So, man, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's too bad. I don't know what you do in that kind of situation. I don't know if you had to pay that bill, but Again, as a veteran, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, like, and the thing about, and I should probably back up on this when I was talking about vets, right? So you put in your 20, like, so as far as I'm concerned, you're done. You're not paying for jack shit in this country. You served your time. You did the ultimate sacrifice, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people are medically discharged from the military, and I consider this to be very different, wildly different. It's no shade on anyone that served, but you did put in the full time. Yes, you made the ultimate sacrifice, but we treat it just a little bit differently. As far as medical care goes, that's fucking bullshit that you have to have anything out of your pocket, like absolutely anything. I cannot fathom telling a whatever an E9 if you're, or excuse me, an E7, right? If you're in the military, like, hey, here's a $5,000 bill for blood work and Tylenol. Like, I can't, especially if you've served your country. Like, what the fuck are we doing? It makes no sense. Like, I don't know. And yeah, this is one of those deals where it's like, I would want to see that bill, and this is something that I would just blast all over X. I'd blast this all over YouTube. I'd blast this all over anywhere that I could, because it's just wrong. Like, this is the stuff we should be paying for. Right now, we're spending $20 million a day to let the fucking Navy set in whatever, the Strait of Hormuz, or wherever the fuck they're over there in Iran. And again, this guy's getting a $5,000 bill to serve this country. Like, I don't know how you guys, I don't know how we justify that. We don't even need to be in Iran, right? This guy needs fucking help. This guy needs somebody's help, right? He probably served, got injured or whatever, and he needs medical care, right? Maybe he can't fucking, let's say he got his legs blown off. He needs a ramp up to his house, or maybe he needs to have an apartment where he can get, up to his apartment. Like, again, we need to pay for that shit because this guy served the fucking country. But no, we're gonna spend $20 million a day to have a bunch of carrier groups set off of Iran, because it's good for a country that none of us are ever going to go to, right? It's good for a country that no one gives a fuck about in this country except a very select few group of people. And again, we got all the resources in the world for that. I just got a big problem with that, like on a personal level. We got a lot of people we got to take care of here. I come from the West Coast, right? The West Coast littered with fucking homeless people. And again, everyone acts like they're not there. Like, just let them be, no big deal. They're not unhoused, guys. I don't know who told you that all these people they're not unhoused. They're fucking on drugs. They're mentally ill. Like, get these people off the fucking streets, get them into mental asylums, get them some drugs, give them something to do, anything but be on the streets, right? People pay taxes. We don't need these fucking people rummaging around all the place. It's disgusting. It's disgusting for the people. It's disgusting for the people that have to live in those cities. It's disgusting all the way around. Like, take care of these people, get them off the fucking streets. But we don't want to do it. It's wild. I can't figure it out. But man, Jovanik, man, sorry, dude. Okay, let's see. At a hospital. Yeah, hospital's bad news. Okay, we got Kenneth Ford in here. Kenneth Ford, 3819, Beta Energy. Yeah, thanks, dude. Hit the like button, add to the discussion. I appreciate it. We got 23 likes in here. I got another probably 20 minutes here. Let's see if we can get this thing up to 50 likes. Hit the like button, please. Okay, Juan Santo, 925. Did you take your morning poop already? Hell yeah, man. First thing in the morning. First cup of coffee. I'm done. All right, Luke Becker, what are you doing in your comments? 50 to 13. The pen is nice, though. That pen is nice, though. This is, what is this? Is this compliments? Nope, this is not a Resplendent Crow pen. This is a pen someone gave me. Okay, all right, Long Dixon Myers. Do you think it's going to close the border? Do you think he going to close the border? Again, Long Dixon, I think the border's closed at this point, as far as I understand, unless you know something that I don't know. But again, Biden left the border open for 4 years, right? And the low number is that 2.5 million people came in every year undocumented, right? Which means that the American system, whether it's housing, healthcare, the school system, Section 8, whatever system, had to absorb those people, right? You can't plan for that many people. Even a country as large as ours, you can't bring that many people in here and absorb them. It doesn't work, So that guy did that for probably 4 years. His Director of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, went before Congress every year and said the border was secure, right? Lied through his fucking teeth every year. I consider this to be treason, right? And again, Biden's the head of it. It's treason. And Trump comes in, closes it within like a month, okay? That means that these people were lying. Again, there's no accountability for these people, these past administrations, because the future administrations, they know they're going to do fucked up shit too. They don't want to be held accountable. So every administration doesn't hold the previous administration accountable, right? They call it not reciprocity, retribution, right? It's always retribution. If you go after this person, right, then they're going to come after you, and it's going to snowball, and it's not going to be good. So they never go after each other, right? So that's why I think that was even allowed to happen. But yeah, I think the border's closed, dude. So, all right, let's see. Luke Becker says, "How you know my nickname?" Okay, don't know what you're saying there, dude. Okay, Long Dixon say no, they aren't. Okay, well, again, that's news to me. Okay, let's see. Kenneth Ford says it's like a train wreck. Well, I don't know what's like a train wreck, Ken. Okay, whether an undocumented immigrant is considered a criminal depends entirely on how you enter the country and their prior history. Again, prior history has nothing to do with it. Again, if you read the statute, right, the first time you come in, it's literally classified as a misdemeanor, right? It's a sometimes they call it a civil penalty, right? So it's really not that big of a deal. You can be imprisoned by up to 6 months, right? The second time you come in, it's a misdemeanor, and you can be in prison for up to 2 years, right? These seem like really lax kind of regulations, but that's the way the statute's written, and it's not like it's a felony. It's not a like a federal offense, So technically, Congress should go in and update the immigration laws, but they don't want to do it, right? Nobody wants to deal with it because everyone just looks the other way, and therefore you get what you want, right? If you're a Democrat, you get people that are going to want to use the system, right? And again, bleeding heart people love to be in the Democrat Party. They love to give other people's money away, and these people will vote, for that interest, right? It looks good to them to help people, right? They just got all the empathy in the world when it's other people's money. If you're a Republican, right, you get people to work in your restaurants, you get people to work in your hotels, you get people to work in your meatpacking plants, you get people to build your houses, all these kind of things. So everybody's getting what they want by doing nothing. Meanwhile, the average American citizen is essentially getting fucked, and it's I've told you guys how that happens at this point. I mean, I'm not gonna go over it again. Unlivid Squid 171. What about Bigfoot? Bigfoot, yeah, I mean, I'm from that neck of the woods. I've never seen a Bigfoot. We the People for 2012. Been in the mindset for a few years now. I know I need to lock in FR. I've been in that mindset for a few years. I'm quite sure you're saying there. Will Bigfoot be okay, you think? Bigfoot's going to be just fine. Okay, guys, I think I've read through enough comments at this point. I'm going to go through the traitors, right? This is another part of the discussion I wanted to talk about. And again, I think we're down to enough people that the people that are in the stream right now probably actually want to listen at this point. So where am I at here? I'm pretty close to being at the end of my comments, so I think we're in good shape. Okay, let's go over traitors. Get a quick trade here. If you're in the stream at this point, man, I really appreciate it. Talking for 2 hours, believe it or not, is not the easiest thing in the world, but I enjoy doing it. I like talking about politics. I like talking about current events from a normie's point of view. So anyone that hangs out, hits the like button. Again, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So okay, traitors. We talked about tariffs a little bit. I could go over tariffs even more if you guys wanted to, but I won't. So we'll go on to some other things. Traitors. All right. So the biggest traitor in America, in my opinion, is literally big business. And again, you might, well, how can that be, right? So the truth is that companies like Nike, Restoration Hardware, Our House, Pottery Barn, Wayfair, all these companies, all their shit is made in the third world, right? And then they bring it back here and they sell it to you guys. And the idea is that, you guys have cheap products, therefore you have more disposable and you consume more of the things that you want, right? It's a win-win. But what they're not telling you guys is that work that Americans aren't doing, the manufacturing of phones, right? The manufacturing of clothes, the manufacturing of electronics, the manufacturing of auto parts, the manufacturing of whatever. I mean, take tractors, air conditioning units, whatever it is you want to do, that manufacturing isn't being done here because it's deemed too expensive, right? Americans wouldn't be able to afford it. And here's my contention with all this, guys. And again, growing up poor, needing to learn how to make things because you're poor, I think we would have more of that going on today. And again, you might say, well, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to do that. And I get it. Just hear me out. So when you don't make a lot of money and you have to get resourceful and creative, what it does is it spurs the creative juices. You get down and dirty, right? You learned how to, in my case, we learned how to make furniture because we couldn't afford much, right? And it was one of the things that we could learn to do. We learned to work on cars because, again, I can't afford to pay somebody else to do it. So you develop that skill, right? You can be the same for cooking, right? You can't afford really nice food, so you learn to make really nice meals. You learn to make really nice clothes because you can't buy really nice clothes. All you can afford is the cheap Chinese shit, that's made over in Vietnam and China and Thailand and all that kind of stuff. You can't afford the nice stuff like Chanel jackets and whatever, Gucci handbags and whatever that shit is, right? So you learn to do these things. Well, what happens over time is that you find out that you have kind of a collection of skills, and then that interest in making stuff grows, right? So then instead of maybe you're just working on cars before, well, then you got a repair to do on a house, right? So then you learn how to repair the house, and you learn to do these things, and you kind of stair step your way into being an entrepreneur. You know, you're working for your boss, right? You're at your job, you know, whatever, framing houses, right? Well, then, you know, work needs to be done on your home. So then you're working on your home. Maybe you're, you know, tearing the shingles and the OSB off, and you're putting all new stuff in there, and now you're doing your house. Well, you start to get that mindset of like, well, you know what, man, my boss does things this way, and man, I kind of got a better way, you know? And maybe you even mention it to your boss, you know, but your boss doesn't take your opinion, right? You start to see the inefficiency in the thing is, you know, I mean, how many times have you heard somebody say, oh God, my boss does this way, it's so fucked up, this doesn't make any sense, I got a better way, blah, blah, blah. You know, we hear these kind of things all the time, like, oh my God, if I left this company, this company wouldn't even be around. They wouldn't know what to do without me. This mindset can propel a person to go start their own thing, right? And again, because you're in the industry, you've learned to do the things. Maybe you know some of the customers, maybe you know some of the vendors, maybe you even, you know, got some of the employees that might want to strike out together and do something together. Whatever your industry is, this is what happens in America, right? When you take on jobs like oh, I'm a data analyst, right? Or I always use the example of like I'm a return on investment strategist. You know, I'm a tax accountant, right? I think it's very difficult to spur those creative juices. And again, I never went to college, which is probably why I may have this bias. But I think if people do those kind of jobs, they never go, never, I can't say the word never. They rarely go on to create their own business and do great things because they're stuck in a job where creativity isn't really a thing. It's very analytical. So when all the shit is made in the third world, and again, you can buy tons of cheap shit for free, you have to make nothing. And I think we've got a lot of people today that they love fucking video games. They love, you know, surfing the internet on X. They love being on Instagram and YouTube, and they're not very creative, you know. So I think big business, when they sent all the work overseas, starting in 1994 with NAFTA, accelerated in 2001 with letting China the World Trade Organization. Every business just started sending everything over the third world, and I think that's why we're in a state of decline as a country, because we don't have enough creative people here. We don't have enough people that are interested in having businesses, in getting their idea out to the customer, right? Getting their idea out into the world. And the ideas that we have are all digital, right? And with AI, again, why would anyone want your idea when AI can do it for nothing, right? Why would anyone want to hire you as an engineer when, again, AI is going to be able to do most of the jobs? And again, they don't have to pay your insurance. They don't have to pay, you know, the liability to keep you on as an employee. They don't have to pay you benefits. They don't have a nice fucking work environment. Like, all those costs are making it harder for you to do the thing that I was just talking about, being creative. But if you got a home, you got a garage, you got a car that's like a beater mobile, again, the struggle of being poor and the struggle of having to make shit because you can't afford things creates a more resilient and more creative society. And that's what I think we're missing. So that is why I put big business on here as essentially a villain, right? You think it's great that you can buy $7 t-shirts on Amazon. I'm here to tell you, it's not as good as you think it is. Like, it just really isn't, you know. So next villain, okay? I'll lay out a couple of these guys. We got Ted Cruz, senator in Texas. We got Randy Fines, congressperson in Florida. We got Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham. I forget if he's a senator. I think he's a representative from South Carolina. And then we got Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense, and we got Mike Johnson, senator from Illinois, who's also a congressperson from the state of Louisiana, who is also the head of the, I forget what they call it. He's the head of the House of Representatives, Speaker of the House. Anyway, these guys have wild allegiance to the country of Israel, right? And again, this isn't a Jew conversation. This is this country. There's something about this country that has infected America, and I can't figure out what it is. And again, I deal with a lot of Jewish clients. I sell my product to the wealthiest people in America, and these people are great people. But what I see from these Congress people and what they do for this country that's 6,000 miles away, that has 6 million people in it, that's the size of the state of New Jersey, what these people are willing to do for this country just blows my mind. It just, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, we send these guys something like, almost like $8 billion a year, which whatever is fine. But these representatives and senators, they justify it by saying, well, they give that money back to America, right? And how do they give that money back to America? Are they giving it to the Marine here that had to pay $5,000 for blood work and fucking Tylenol? No. They're giving it to Lockheed Martin. They're giving it to Northrop Grumman. They're giving it to General Dynamics. They're giving it to Raytheon. They're giving it to Halliburton. They're giving it to defense contractors that supply them with arms, right? All of these defense contractors, which are massive corporations, by the way. I used to work for General Dynamics, right? I work for a subsidiary of General Dynamics called Gulfstream Aerospace, right? You guys know it's a most beautiful private jet in the world. But what happens is these guys get wild tax breaks. They get wild carve-outs, right? They have immunity from what their weapons are being used for. So when those weapons are used to commit, what may or may not be genocide, we pay for that shit, right? And we give the businesses that provide the weapons tax breaks, okay? I'm not okay with this. Every one of these people supports that. And again, I don't know why these people, I consider these people to be traitors to this country. I really do. Because again, as an American, I don't support what that country does, right? And now we're over there, not because Iran is a threat to America, not because Iran is a threat to Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or the UAE. No, because this one little tiny country has been talking shit with this other country for like 30 years at this point. Hell, maybe, no, like 50 years at this point. These guys have been fucking talking shit forever. And we're supposed to solve the problem. We're supposed to hash this thing out. Like, again, I don't give a fuck about Iran. I don't give a fuck about Israel. I could care less what these countries mean. Nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. And if they both just obliterate each other, I say, great, good. Then I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to send them money. I don't have to put my military over there. Like, let them wipe each other out. Let's be done with it. Okay? Every one of these guys is zealotous, right? They will support these people no matter what, right? And this Mike Huckabee, you guys need to go listen to that Tucker Carlson conversation with Mike Huckabee. I don't like Mike Huckabee, and Tucker Carlson's conversations aren't always that great, but this one, like Mike Huckabee is a zealot. And this guy represents America. He is the representative in Israel for America, and this guy is not talking like an American. He's talking like he supports everything that happens in the state of Israel. And it's just wild to me, So these people, they've all got to go. Every single one of them. Mike Johnson has Trump's dick so far down his throat. Like, I don't know how this guy makes it into work every day. It blows my mind. Tom Cotton, another one, senator out of Arkansas. Like, these people they're selling this country out for a country that doesn't have anything to do with America. Nothing. This country does nothing for America. They don't make anything for us. They don't, they're not providing us with cheap labor like all these other countries are. There's no strategic advantage to being a partner with this country. There's nothing about it. Yet, the most powerful people in our government have unconditional support for this country, and I cannot figure out what that is. I don't like it. And what I think it boils down to is that this country is more important to them than America. Their job is to make sure that America backs whatever they want to do. And that, in my opinion, is treason. You can't send aid and comfort to your enemy, right? And when you factor in the whole Jeffrey Epstein side of things, now you're talking about, intelligence, you're talking about bribery, you're talking about blackmail, you're talking about honeypot operations, you're talking about CIA, Mossad, FBI, MI6, you're talking about all these groups of people. It makes that country look like they are essentially strong-arming America. And, or you could say strong-arming, blackmail, and you can use whatever adjective you want. These politicians are not working in America's interest. They're not. And again, none of these politicians are calling for E-Verify to get rid of all the illegals, even though they could. They could do it in their states, right, as representatives for the state of Texas, the state of Arkansas, the state of Louisiana, the state of South Carolina. They could do all this stuff. They're not doing any of it. They have no interest to help you as the taxpayer to make your life better. And this is what we all think about this Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy is all these people are operating in the interest of other countries, right? And that is considered treason. You cannot send aid to another country that is at a detriment to this country. That is the definition of treason. And again, these people, they get elected every year. They're at the highest levels of power, and it's horrible. It's horrible what is being done to this country for a country of 6 million people, a tiny little fucking insignificant place. We have to, and again, we already fought a world war to liberate these and save these people essentially, and that's not enough. It's like we got to continue to support these guys for whatever reason. It's like nobody else is coming to there. Do you guys understand? Like this country is is trying to be prosecuted by, I believe it's the International Court, if I remember correctly. They're being tried for genocide. But again, America is always there to veto it. So there's no way that this country is ever going to be held accountable. Politicians aren't held accountable in America. The country of Israel is not going to be tried, or at least have to defend themselves in a court over what they did in Gaza. If you guys really want to go back to it, like one of the reasons we went to Iraq was because of intelligence we got from the country of Israel. Okay, now it's kind of a conspiracy. There's talk about 9/11 with this particular country, so there's no reason to associate with this country at this point. But for whatever reason, we send them, what's probably tens of billions of dollars every year. We'll send our military anywhere they want us to go. All of our politicians advocate for them in every opportunity, and nobody ever says, this is not our friend. And so I don't know what that is, and I don't know how to talk about it in a super intelligent way because it's not my industry, it's not what I do, but I know that I've never met, if you want to bring in like the Jew conversation, I've never met a Jew that thinks the way these people think, and I've met a lot of them. So I don't understand what's going on here. I don't like it. But these politicians, I know they're not Americans. They're not friends of America. They're not looking out for our interests. They're not looking out for your interests. And you can tell by what they talk about, okay? There are other two villains I want to talk about real quick are James Comer, right? And Jim Jordan. These are guys, you see them all over Fox News. They're part of our, I forget what it's called. They basically get to bring people up in front of Congress. They talk about the hearings. They get to, ask them questions and all that. There's names for all these different committees, but they're kind of the head ones. These are the guys that had, were looking into Hunter Biden. They're looking into Joe Biden. They're looking into all different kinds of things, right? So I went and I actually looked up exactly what these guys, I got it here in front of my computer, guys. Bear with me. I looked into what exactly these guys have done, right? So again, if you're going to talk all this shit on Fox News, you're going to talk all this shit on X, and you're going to talk about how you're going to go get these people, and you're going to go, make sure that America has retribution, and you're going to bring in the Bidens, and you're going to bring in, the businesses, and you're going to bring in, China, and you're going to rein all these people in. These guys are literally so James Comer is the head of what's called the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, right? This is this guy's title, okay? His big things are, and I'm reading in front of you guys, so I apologize. You're not getting my quips here. He looked at what was called the Biden family influence peddling foreign business dealing investigation, okay? He looked into the Biden cognitive decline auto pen president investigation. Okay, this is some of the shit that these guys are working on. He's got the federal governing handling of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell investigation. Okay, and again, these are all these hearings that these guys have. We've got the fraud in Minnesota Social Services DHS program. And then we've got his earlier committee work on things like COVID-19 origins, federal response to January 6th. There's just this long list of things, okay? So in summary, right, we go through all the things that this guy has looked in his entire congressional career. Few have led to criminal charges, impeachment, or major policy changes, which is textbook speak for he's done fucking nothing. Nothing has happened for all of the hearings, all of the investigations, all of the papers, all of the bluster on Fox News, all the bluster on X, all your cucks like Benny Johnson, Eagle Guntherman, or whatever the fuck that guy's name is, Alex Jones, all these people, they've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And these guys get paid, whatever, $174,000 a year. They have expense accounts. They have staffs. They have all these costs that you, the taxpayer, are paying for, me, the taxpayer, paying for, and they've done nothing. Absolutely nothing has come from any of these hearings. All they get to do is basically try and shame people. And again, zero results. Again, as a business owner, someone who has to actually make a product, deliver a product, be efficient, make money, like I would fire this fucking guy like after one of these hearings. Like you got nothing. Absolutely nothing from any of this shit. You wasted everyone's time. You wasted everyone's money. You got fuck all, okay? So Jim Jordan's another one. Jim Jordan's another one of these guys. He loves to get on the talk shows. He loves to talk shit on all of his political enemies, all the people that are on the left. I'm going to get the left, right? Again, this guy's he's a representative from Ohio. And the thing about this guy is he did the Trump-Russia investigation, right? So he's over what's called the House Judiciary Committee, right? And he's been in it since 2009. He did what's called the Trump-Russia investigations, right? The Mueller probe. He was over that. He did the Trump impeachment inquiries. He did the 2020 election integrity and fraud probes. He did the weaponization of the federal government, right? And this is 2023. He did the probes into prosecuting, targeting Donald Trump. He did the Biden family Hunter Biden investigation. This would have been 2023. He did the COVID-19 origin and response oversight investigations. That was also in 2023. Foreign censorship, EU Digital Services Probe Act, did that and started that in 2025. Department of Justice surveillance of Congress, right? What they called Arctic Frost Probe. He did that one. The Epstein-Maxwell federal handling of investigations in 2025. All this guy's stuff. How much shit do you think this guy got done? Been doing it since 2009, right? How much has the American people got from all of his investigations, all of the questioning, all of the bluster on Fox News and on X? Like, what have you guys got for this? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. No one's been charged. No one's left office. There's been no rules changes. There's no legislation has been written. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know what they do? They release a lot of papers. It's all papers. You guys have got nothing. Absolutely nothing. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It doesn't matter if you're on the left, you're on the right. These guys aren't going to give you jack shit because they're all in on it. And it's, as a taxpayer, you should just be wildly frustrated. Like, you pay 22% of your fucking income into the federal government every year, right? Unless you're a business owner like me and you can carve, you know, a percent here off, a percent there off, and a percent here off, right? You can change your W-2 income for profit income, right? Which is taxed at a lower rate, or what we call, distributions. So these guys are doing nothing for you guys, and you're paying them every year to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And it's wildly frustrating. That's why I call this talk, you know, Traitors and Tariffs, because you guys are just getting it. I mean, seven ways from Sunday. You're getting it everywhere, and you're paying for all this stuff. So what do we? I mean, how do I end this talk? Right, we're at 2 hours. I've done my 2 hours today. Like, what do we do? You know, like, let's go through comments. You guys tell me what we want to do. Like, I'll give you guys some more time here. Again, I don't know how many comments we've got. I don't know how many people are just listening to Eric fucking rant about this stuff at this point. But let's start here. Let's start with who's this? We the People 420-12. I don't think you're also assuming when AI and robots fail, either we all die or revolution. We'll have to go back to time more like the 2000s. Again, and we the people, I hope you're right, man. And I would never bet against Elon Musk. And I think when Elon Musk says that you guys won't need money in, 10 or 20 years, I believe him. I don't know how that works, but I believe him. And again, when instead of having whatever, 800 businesses in America, you're basically gonna have like 7 or 8 massive corporations, right? Like you would see in a movie like Johnny Mnemonic, or Cyberpunk 2000. It's gonna be a whole bunch of like 7 or 8 companies fighting for control of the world. So yeah, when the robots come in, guys, like I said, you guys are all fucked. Like when I can teach somebody to paint furniture again, why would I hire you? There's so much you have to deal with as an employer to hire a person, right? And all you guys are bitching about is making a certain amount of money. Like, there's so much other back end shit. Until our government fixes that, robots are going to win every time. There's no reason to hire an American to do any kind of work when there's a robot that won't bitch, that won't be on their phone, that's not going to be, like I said, bringing their family bullshit into it. Oh, I got to leave to go take care of my kid, or oh, I'm sick today. Robot doesn't do any of that, right? Same thing with sending the work over to third world. Like, why would I start a factory here and deal with the fucking EPA bullshit that I got to deal with, the OSHA bullshit that I got to deal with, the fucking all the workman's comp insurance, the general liability insurance? Why would I deal with any of that shit? Having a fucking tax account, having an attorney on retainer. Why would I deal with any of that shit when I could send all the work to the third world? And this is the thing, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, our government could solve a lot of these problems, but they will not do it. And I've told you guys why they won't do it. I think I've made my case at this point. So okay. See, Chad 2831, because the point of life isn't working all the time. And again, like, Chad, that's hilarious because you guys are working all the time. Unless you're really good at what you do, you have to work all the time. How many people have 2 or 3, 4 jobs even? Like, you got to work 20 hours here, 20 hours over there. It's like, what? Is this really how we want to live today? Like, again, stop fucking buying shit from overseas, and guess what? businesses will have to hire Americans. And then you'll say, well, the businesses will leave. I hear this all the time. Okay, let the businesses leave. They're still going to want to sell into America. And guess what? Then they got to pay a 400% tariff to do it. They ain't fucking going anywhere. But you're not going to hear that on Fox News. You're not going to hear that on CNN. Your President Trump's not going to say that. Okay, we the people for I don't think there's also assuming, okay, I got to read your comment there. Luke Becker, I'll see what you got to say. Well, it was, but the Bible was definitely used. Okay, not sure what you had going on there. I'm not going to go back to your previous comments. Unlimited Squid 171. I will make my robot go to the work for me. Yeah, and again, I hope that's the case, man. I hope that you can pay a robot to go do a job for you. I really hope that that's the case. I got a Tesla. Elon Musk told me that I was basically going to be able to go to bed, and then my Tesla was just going to drive around picking people up, and I'm going to get paid money, you know. And again, I haven't seen it, you know. I'll be shocked if that happens. Like, why would Tesla let me use my robot or my car that I own to go drive people around and pick up when Tesla could just make cars for nothing and then use all their codes to drive around and pick people up, you know? Or they could use my car and siphon off 40% for themselves, just like YouTube does on here. So every time you guys put in something like a super chat or a gift or sign up for a membership, like Google carves off, it's like 30 or 40% for themselves, you know? So I know how this business model works. Again, you'll end up with a couple of companies that are doing all the shit, making all the money. You'll get a little bit, but again, the $2,000 a year you're going to make letting your Tesla drive around, Tesla's going to make, you know, 200 billion off of it, you know. So it's the scale is just astronomical. Okay, we are fucked out even with the revolution, but we're so brainwashed to think nothing will happen. Yeah, I don't know, man. Revolution would be great, man. I'm ready. Let's do the French Revolution here. Like I'm all for it. But good luck with that one happening. Okay, we the people. See who you think, Bill, Hillary. I don't know what you mean by that. Bill was clearly the Epstein file. I don't think Hillary had anything to do with that, you know. So I think if anyone's in trouble, it's going to be Bill Clinton. But he's so fucking old. What are you going to do with the guy? I don't think anyone's going to support sending Bill Clinton to jail at this point. Okay, Mike. This is Mikey Smithers. Yeah, that's my lab. Good, you got the lab too, man. It's good. It's a cool lab, man. It's real. It's official. Okay, so we're back to the beginning, but AI moves a lot quicker, and the Book of Revolutions is very short, just a few years. Interesting comment there, Luke. I appreciate that comment. Okay, let's see. We the people. It's just one big cycle. I hope it is one cycle. I don't know what part of the cycle we're in, but I hope you're right. Okay, yeah, but nuclear blast sent us all to the thousand. Yeah, again. Okay, BMZ 2128. Haven't seen you before. Good, glad you're here. His lampshade looks like a fez hat. Great comment, like a Turkish wizard. Yep. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody. So we got Bill, GY Lurkey, 79.95. How much in tax dollars has Cali spent on homeless? $24 billion. That's the number. $24 billion, and the problem has gotten any better. But again, you're not hearing for the citizens in California to have all their politicians thrown out. They're completely content with that money being wasted, because the truth is that people think that just by giving money to some, it absolves them of responsibility. It's like, well, I voted for the tax increase, therefore, if nothing happens, it doesn't matter because I paid the taxes. And again, I make so much money, I don't care about the taxes. That's kind of how that mindset works. You know, meanwhile, the guy that, you know, can barely get by, who's still paying his whatever 10, 11%, whatever the fucking taxes there in California, you know, he's saying, fuck this, I don't want to fuck these people. They can take care of themselves. I'm not paying this money anymore. Or he expects that he's going to get something for his tax dollars because, again, he doesn't have enough money, and every dollar that leaves his account is wildly important. When it's wasted, he notices it. He cares about it, you know? So I don't know. The homeless thing's a joke, man. It's such a joke. Okay, Susan HP 6695. I have sent Israel enough money to end homelessness in America. Yeah, you and me both, sister. All right. AIPAC pays. Yeah, AIPAC's a real problem. And again, I don't know enough about AIPAC, but from what I understand, they aren't registered as a foreign lobby, which I think is kind of interesting. And again, they're giving money to a lot of our politicians. Like, why do you guys give money to politicians? Why are politicians accepting money from a foreign group anyway? You know, even if they have an American office, they're still advocating for a foreign country. From what I understand, why is that okay? Why is that legal? And it's legal because every politician's in on it and they want the money, you know? So, and the voter's never going to cut it off. The voter's got other things to worry about, you know? So that's fucking never going to change. Let's see, Susan HP 6690 says, we went to war with Iraq because there was, yeah, 100%. I tried to talk about it earlier, Susan. Like, I think at this point it's pretty well documented. I mean, that guy, the prime minister over there, Bibi Netanyahu, he's been talking about fucking Iran trying to destroy Israel for 30 years. Like, at what point do we say, you know what, dude, fuck off? I don't want to hear it. Like, at what point do we say, you know what, that's your problem? 30 years is long enough. As far as I'm concerned, they haven't destroyed you guys for whatever reason, and maybe that's because of America. But like, we're done. You guys take care of yourself. You got 30 years to build up to prepare for this enemy. Like, when does our support end? Like, when do we, take care of the guy in here who's like got a $5,000 medical bill, served our country? Why are we taking care of that fucking guy? Why are we taking care of this country that, again, nobody in America goes to? And again, most people couldn't find it on a fucking map, and most people don't give a shit about. But that's where your politicians are putting their allegiance. That's where they're putting your guys' tax dollars, and I can't figure out why that is. More people need to talk about it. It's a big problem. Okay, Elizabeth Conley, 7976. Too many people don't know about the Balfour Declaration of the, is it NABA? I don't know about that either. I'm not familiar with that. Again, I'm not super educated on a lot of these issues, to be quite honest with you, and I've never heard of that one. I've heard of the Balfour Declaration, but the last part I'd never heard of before. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, but you could certainly educate us. Billions of dollars. Yeah, I believe it. They have free healthcare in Israel, and we pay for it. Yeah, 100%. Well, it's just like Europe. Like, Europe always loves to talk shit on America. And again, if it wasn't for us defending them, right? If it wasn't for NATO, which everyone, it's North American, was it treaty organization? Again, it's just fucking America's military. That's all it is. So yeah, all those countries over there can afford to have whatever it is they want because they don't have to defend themselves. Again, America pays for all of it. Like, look at their budgets. You'll find that their militaries are fucking ridiculous. There's nothing there. It's all, fancy shoes and nice cars and shit. It's that's why the caricature of Europe is them sitting in a cobblestone street at a cafe drinking a cup of espresso, Meanwhile, the America, it's the fucking soldier holding the flag, with the fucking night vision goggles on and shit, ready to go fuck shit up. That's America. Okay, critical 509. All these people crying about universal health care don't understand that it would probably be close to 43% tax increase in order to cover universal health. Yeah, and that's a great point. And I think you're 100% right. It would cost a shit ton of money. But the truth is, you guys want to fix the healthcare industry. Like, all you got to do is just get rid of health insurance. Make it a simple supply and demand thing, and the problem goes away overnight. But the problem is you have a lot of people not being able to afford healthcare because it's going to take a couple of years for the lack of demand for the healthcare to shrink because nobody can afford it, right? You want to see prices come down? Stop using insurance to pay for things. Right? It basically, and all insurance is a large collection of people paying for a smaller collection of people. That's the way insurance is supposed to work. It spreads the wealth out to these people, and that's not really what we do now. Yeah, it's completely a broken system. You got to get the government out of paying for healthcare. You got to get rid of insurance, and then it will absolutely crush what it costs to get blood work done. It will crush what it costs to get an X-ray done. And if you want to fund things like cancer research, good. Fucking send money to the colleges. You don't need the federal government to do it. The people can send the money, give the money back to the people, let them spend their money on what they want to spend it on. But again, when you have the boomers, right, the largest group of people ever born, right, happened right after World War II. Those people came back, had kids, right? It was great for them. Then they had a shit ton of kids because things were so good. Massive baby boom. All these motherfuckers need healthcare. You think they're ever going to vote to cut Medicare for these people? Ain't fucking happening. You think they're going to vote to get rid of insurance? Ain't happening. They are going to keep the healthcare system going because, again, the average person in Congress is a fucking centenarian at this point. The average person in Congress, I think, is something like almost 60 years old at this point. Those people are never going to vote that shit away. Never going to happen. We're all going to pay for it. Social Security is fucking bankrupt and broke. We're still going to continue to funnel money into it to pay for all these old fucks. It's just, it's such a broken system. Okay, see, it's weird now that countries that have universal health care have people that come to America for American superior health care. Yeah, there's an element of truth to that. You got a lot of people in America actually going to the third world for health care. Happens all the time. It happens way more than people coming here. Again, Fox News will always tell you that, oh God, people are coming to America for health care because they can't get it over there. Right, there is some truth to that, but way more people that are in America go to the third world for plastic surgery, for hip replacements. I mean, hell, Joe Rogan was talking about how a lot of people are going to places like Panama and South America for stem cell treatments. I mean, all the kinds of treatments that we can't get here because they're just too goddamn expensive. The people go down to Mexico all the time for dental work. Like, it's very common just to jump across the border and go just do a Google search of all the medical and dental services that are offered close to the border in Canada and close to the border in places like California. You'll see it. There's tons of it because it's a very popular a form of business. So it's it's insane. Okay. Susan HP 6690 says we sent the money to Israel critically. Yeah. Anna JG's in your 1997. Anna, good to see you. Glad you're here. Simply cut the part of the military budget the Pentagon cannot account for and use that for healthcare. Yeah, and again, I'm completely okay with that. I've got no problems with that. Again, if the Department of Defense can't pass an audit, as far as I'm concerned, like cut it 100%. You guys get no fucking money. Because again, as a taxpayer, what would happen to you if you said, you know what, IRS, I'm not gonna, you can't audit me. IRS comes in and says, you know, we need to audit your records, and you're like, get fucked. And you did that for 8 years, right? How long would it be before they sent you to jail? How long would it be before subpoenas were coming after you, right? How long would it be before your bank records were being subpoenaed? How long would it be before there were injunctions against you to take money out of your bank account? How long would it be before they put liens on your homes, your cars, everything you fucking ever bought in your life? Like, how, it wouldn't be very long. It certainly wouldn't be 8 years, I know that. So there is not representation there, right? So you got taxation without representation. And again, no one gives a shit. You know, so if it were me, the Department of Defense would get $0. You know, and again, oh, what about jobs? What about this? What about that? Like, I don't give a fuck. Follow the law. But again, they don't have to. So, and my guess is it's not only Department of Defense. I'm sure there's plenty of other agencies throughout our government that, again, aren't passing audits, that aren't held to the same standard that the average citizen is held to. So, Comp 8806, yeah, but America doesn't do Israel's bidding. Israel does America's bidding. Okay, well, again, Comp, man, I completely disagree with that. But maybe there's something to that. You know, again, I don't know why America would want to go into Iran. I have no idea what, because of it's good for Saudi Arabia. Like, again, we're already planning to leave the Middle East. Like, why do you think we went down to Venezuela? Venezuela's got more oil than the entire Middle East put together. Like, I don't know, like, you guys don't see that's kind of what's going on there, but we want to, I don't think we want to go deal with Iran. The American people certainly don't, right? So I don't know what you're saying there. Critical 509, oh, maybe it's just, or maybe just apply yourself, educate yourself, don't get a job, get a career, and that career comes with good health insurance instead of begging for free stuff. Yeah, and there's something to that, you know. This idea of getting a career versus getting a job. Like, again, like, as someone who hires and fires people, like, I see resumes all the time, and you know how many people that give us resumes, and again, whether it's they come into the shop, hand it in, whether it's on Indeed, whether it's on Monster, whatever the site is, they've got like a lot of people will have, I don't know, like 10 jobs in 6 years. They just go from job to job to job to job, or maybe they'll have 3 jobs in 6 years, right? People don't stay at one place. They're not looking for careers. They're just looking for work. And I don't know if it's the businesses are just casting them out, right? Maybe they find somebody better. Like, I don't know what that is, but I know as an employer, I don't have an incentive to just run through employees. So my guess is that a lot of people are just not very hireable. They're doing the things that I'm talking about. They can't get off their fucking phone. They can't show up to work on time. They come into work smelling like weed. You know, they don't come to work ready to work, right? They've got personal problems. They, you know, need draws. They've got every fucking problem in the book. That's what I think is really going on. I don't think it's employers just getting rid of people. So, all right, Compa 8806, critical free healthcare sounds better than sending billions to other nations. I get it, man. But again, my thing is like, why the fuck do y'all want healthcare? Why is healthcare such a big problem with you guys? Like, what? I'm 46 years old. I've hardly ever been to the doctor, you know? And again, I've always kind of taken care of myself. I've always been a runner. I've always done working out. I mean, I'm in a room right now. It's got nothing but workout equipment and a big fucking television and 2 monitors. I've been an ultra marathon runner most of my life. And I've just hardly ever had to go to the doctor. So I don't know who all these people are that are constantly saying they want health care. I just bought blood work. I just told you guys that blood work was $1,800, right? It's $1,800 because most of the blood work is done with insurance, which is probably marked up 4 times, right? Blood work could be $300 if we get fucking insurance out of this thing and make people pay for their own goddamn health care, right? Again, as someone who has to pay for Medicare and Medicaid, why the fuck am I covering your broken leg? Why am I covering your diabetes treatment, right? Why am I covering all this shit? You know, this is all self-inflicted stuff. And again, it shouldn't be very expensive to take care of a broken leg. It's not a big deal. A broken arm happens all the fucking time. Why are you submitting your insurance to pay for your fucking flu shot, for your Z-Pack when you get sick, when you get the sniffles? Why am I fucking paying for that? Insurance should not cover that shit. Insurance is for when you get fucking cancer, okay? Insurance isn't because you're a fat, lazy piece of shit and you don't want to fucking go take care of yourself. You don't want to get outside and run around a little bit, you know, maybe lift a weight every now and again, and I got to fucking pay for your fat ass. I'm not okay with that. This is one of the things that causes insurance to get super expensive, okay? If I got to pay for old people, I'll start there, But again, the idea of I'm paying for your fucking kids, sniffles because you take him to the doctor every other week because insurance pays for it. I'm not fucking okay with that. Take care of your own fucking kid. Like I'm tired of it. Insurance shouldn't be paying for this. Your fucking problems are not my problems, right? You get fucking cancer, got you covered. I'll take care of it, right? You get you're in a fucking tornado, right? Your house gets blown over, you get fucked up, you got broken arms, broken legs, you're part of a natural disaster, I'll cover that. But I'm not paying for you just because you come to the doctor. Get fucked. I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired of constantly paying for everybody's problems. Like, take care of yourself, give a shit. Oh, I'm poor, I don't have this, I don't have that. Man, fuck you. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of paying for all you fucking people. So critical, man, I'm with you on that one, man. I'm fucking with you. No, I take it back. That was Compa 8806. Critical 519. It sounds better because we're not capable of thinking for ourselves, so we can let the lunch ladies and the View do it for you. Yeah, I just think that we as Americans, we're too empathetic. I mean, that's my honest. And if you guys are in the stream, like, hit the like button, have a discussion. Maybe you don't disagree with us. We were talking about traitors and tariffs, and now we're talking about taxes and paying for, universal health care and all these kind of things. Again, the problem with universal health care, guys, is that, again, you end up with these people who they go to the doctor because they got a cold, right? Maybe they are going to go to the doctor because they don't want to go to work. I've literally seen this before. I'm going to make a doctor's appointment so that I don't have to go to work for that. I can take the whole day off. You get people to go to the doctor because, again, their kid breaks his arm. Again, they're going to use insurance. They're going to go to the doctor because it's flu season, right? They want to get a flu shot, right? They're going to go to the doctor, because their ear hurts, or they're going to go to the doctor because, they got funny vision or something like that. Again, those are problems, and you can deal with them if you're willing to pay for them. Because again, like, I've had eye problems before. I've had hearing problems before. I've had cavities. I've had all kinds of dental problems. But again, I pay cash for almost all of it. And you have to put up with the pain. You got to put up with the discomfort. You got to put up with getting into the doctor when you can fucking afford it, right? It's not catastrophic. It's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable. And again, as a culture, we are just uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And I got a fucking problem. You need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And again, probably because I grew up fucking poor, because I work at a loud shop, we smell paint, I gotta deal with noises all the time, I get fucking slivers and deal with dangerous shit all day long. Like, I'm just kind of used to it. But again, I'm tired of paying for everyone's fucking comfort. I'm over it. I'm over it. So again, I'm not for universal health care. I'm not for fucking even insurance for healthcare at this point. I'm over it. Okay, let's see, Walter White. I heard this one. This is a Giga Biga. Man, great name, dude. Yeah, I hear that all the time. Like, I get the Walter White thing. It's fine. I used to be called Sick Boy. They used to call me Sick Boy for the movie Trainspotting. Okay, let's see. Susan HP 6690. Critical, if you just lost your credibility because of stuff. Okay, got you. Critical 519. Oh, did I stoop low by pointing out the fact that you people are absolutely incapable of thinking for yourselves and let Jimmy Kimmel monologues, Facebook memes, and lunch ladies on the View do that? And again, like I said, I agree with you. I agree with you, critical. Kind of what you're saying. Like I said, I think the View is just like, it's a bunch of rich bitches that again super empathetic. And again, as a man, I'm tired of all the empathy. If I'm being completely honest, but I don't want to make this a man-woman issue. But yeah, I think those shows are terrible. But you got a lot of people at home, and again, who watches that shit? You got a bunch of fucking rich bitches, crying about everything. Again, which is what I'm doing, but I'm doing it on a Saturday because I'm not at work, right? These bitches do it all day long. Who's watching that shit? I don't know who. I've never known anybody that watches The View, but apparently there's enough views to sponsors, pay for these bitches to talk all day. I don't know who's watching that shit, but people like it, All right, let's see here. We got, this is Hayden Egger, man, good to see you. 7286 Fragile, yep. We got Captain Trips in here. Captain, good to see you too. G7W. Rich white people blaming it all on rich white people. Yeah, I know, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, I agree. Like, I don't know who watches this shit. Like I said, even today, like, I get on shows like Sean Hannity, and like, you just see, like, this guy is a complete cuck for foreign countries. He's a complete cuck for Donald Trump. Absolutely incapable of having an objective point of view. And it's so transparent. You'll never see anyone on Fox News talk shit on old people, talk shit on the military, talk shit on anything that's related to their sponsors, right? Which are gold and drugs and insurance. So you're never going to see a negative article about the people that pay these. The problem is with channels like Fox News is that their demographic is getting so old that the people that will sponsor and pay for them are getting so narrow that's basically just end of life shit. So it's funny to watch. Like, you're never going to see some young hip brand on Fox News because no one watches that shit anymore. It's the cable's dead. I mean, in 15 years, like, Fox News will cease to exist. Like, there'll be nobody left that watches that shit, you know. So they're just trying to rake in the cash as long as they can. All right, Elizabeth Conley 79, 76. Critical 509, I actually have the thought for myself, and I believe universal health care would save lives. Every year expenses go up and wages stay stagnant. Yeah, but again, and Elizabeth Conley, like, everyone loves empathy. I think all of us would want to help other people. But what you don't realize is that the cost of healthcare goes up not only for the consumer, but for the government, right? So not only are you paying a more expensive cost as the consumer, you're paying more in taxes to fund all of it, right? And again, when you get the government involved, just like colleges, when there's nobody to say, you know what, I'm not paying your price anymore, because insurance is always accepted, right? When there's people that will say, no, I'm not going to pay your price, the price will never come down, never. And that's why the cost of healthcare has gone up, whatever, 100% in the last, 15 years. It's unaffordable for most people. The only way you guys can afford healthcare is to use insurance. And again, I just told you guys, paying cash, it's always less, right? Because they bill significantly more for insurance. And this is the problem. You have to get insurance out of healthcare. Again, you want more doctors here? Guess what? If you guys got rid of insurance, you could pay a doctor to essentially service an area. To have essentially what would be called a concierge doctor, right? So, like, I live in this little neighborhood here, right? There's whatever, like 20 homes on the Mississippi River here. We could have a doctor that literally serviced our area, pay this guy, whatever, $500 a month, and again, the doctor can provide care to all of us and do just great. But he can't do that today, right? He has to have access to a hospital, right? Therefore, he has to be accredited in a very specific way, has to have the right licenses in order to be able to operate at the hospital. The way the hospitals work is fucked up, guys. This idea of a doctor running around to homes, this is not a new concept. This used to happen, and it should happen today. Like, wealthy people, you guys probably don't even know how this shit works. So if you guys have any kind of money, the way it works is that you never see Tom Cruise going to the hospital, right? You never see, I don't know, I can't use Donald Trump because he's in government. But before Donald Trump was in government, you think Donald Trump ever went into the doctor's office? Like, no, it doesn't work that way. The doctors come to these people. And in the event that they actually do need to go have a surgery done, you will go to a concierge, not hospital, you go to a concierge outpatient hospital, and they will have their stuff done there, right? These people operate in a world that you guys don't exist in, but you could if we got rid of insurance. Okay, the reason you guys can't just go to the fucking doctor and get, a codeine encapsulated Tylenol, right? Because it's restricted by the federal government. You have to basically make an appointment, go see your doctor, tell your doctor why you need this thing, which that copay would cost you $150 if you paid cash, but insurance covers it with a copay, right, which is also subsidized by the federal government. The doctor then gives you a ticket or calls it into Walgreens. Walgreens gets their profit on top of it. Everybody's fucking getting paid because of insurance. If you guys didn't have insurance, guess what? You can have a doctor on staff. You can literally just call that guy up because he doesn't have to run through fucking patients all day long. His business model is not getting you to come into the doctor to get the copay for the hospital or the office where he's at, right? To get that copay that he can then show the insurance company, which can then bring him the drug companies that then kick him back for all the shit that he's supposed to write scripts for, right? It's a twisted system, guys. It is wild. You can literally just have your own doctor. You literally could. And you could just call your doctor up, say, hey, I need this code. And he might say, okay, what are your symptoms? So this is what I got. Yeah, that works. Go take it. Done. Here. Done. It's over. It doesn't cost you jack shit. You're paying this guy whatever, $100 a month, $200 a month to basically just be your doctor. But we don't have that system. We got a system where 1 million people are getting paid because you're sick. Your doctor has no incentive to get you healthy. His incentive is to get you into that office, write you a script, right, and then keep you coming back to him every 30 to 90 days for more scripts. He doesn't want to get you healthy. He wants to give you drugs. That's ultimately what he wants, and this is how the system works, and it's wildly fucked up, guys. It is so disgusting the way the system works. Like, if you really wanted to know how to do this shit, insurance should essentially pay you guys to go buy healthcare equipment, right? Go buy a fucking treadmill. I'll subsidize a treadmill. Go buy a goddamn exercise bike. I'll subsidize everyone to have some weights. I'll subsidize everyone to have a gym membership. And then you guys don't need universal healthcare. Then when you actually do need to get healthcare, or what is called universal catastrophic healthcare, then it makes sense. Because guess what? You don't need a ton of fucking healthcare until you're into your 50s. 50 fucking years old, guys. I've never been to the doctor for anything that I couldn't pay cash for. Not one fucking time. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Again, if you're one of these people that has a baby and the baby has to go to the NICU for 6 months, the American people should pay for that. Right? You're one of these people, but again, if you're a crack baby, if you're one of these moms that's on the fucking drugs, like again, why aren't we dealing with the people that are on the drugs, right? We just let them roam around. We let them be fucking degenerates, and we just let them mill around. We call them nodders, right? These people just go like this all the time, like these kind of fucking people. Again, you got to deal with those people when they're sick, so you don't have crack babies, right? If you're one of these people that's working class, you know, has a baby premature, right? Again, let the American people pay for that. But we can't pay for everyone because we want to help people, because it saves lives. As far as I'm concerned, more fucking people need to die. We need to not take care of these fucking people because we can't afford it as a country, okay? And again, not a popular opinion, but that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, anyone that's empathetic, I get it, you know. I say, yeah, American dream, right? Yeah, America's tough, man. Life is tough. Critical 501, wages only stay stagnant if you're worthless enough to sit at minimum wage. You don't apply yourself and educate yourself to get a career instead of a job. You don't do it for yourself. And there's a lot of truth in that. But again, if you guys are streaming, hit the like button. Now discussion. So as an employer, what I always tell people to do, and this is something that I found myself doing a lot unintentionally. I didn't mean to do this, but as I look back on my life, I realized this is what I was doing. What employers want in employees today, and what they've always wanted, is they want an employee that is ambitious. And not every employee. I mean, we want employees that just want to come in and do the same thing every day. We really do. But we are looking for the people that, in my case, when I started out building furniture, right, I was building what we call Jeppesen cases, which are basically where the pilots would put their manuals and all their log books and stuff like that in their private jets, the people that would fly them. Well, I would build those for a little while, and then I get kind of bored. I'm like, you know what, like I kind of want to build something else, you know? And so then they'd give me whatever divan cabinets, or they give me, you know, side ledges to work on, stuff like this. And over the years, I just kept asking for more to do. And what I realized was happening was that I was starting to basically be the guy that was interested in building things. So what happened is, instead of Eric building new pieces of furniture because Eric wanted to build new pieces of furniture, it became, oh, hey, we have new furniture, let's have Eric build it. Right? Or, hey, we have this cabinet that's never been built before. We need to figure out what it's going to take to build it, the hours, the materials. Does the engineering really work? Hey, let's have Eric do it. Like, Eric he'll build anything. He likes new projects. He likes problems. He likes, you know, dealing with other people, going into engineering, going into planning, talking to the foreman, talking to the lead boss, whatever. He likes this kind of stuff. Going back to the mill shop, talking to the fucking CNC operator. He likes this stuff. And then I became that guy, right? So if you're whatever business you're in, if you're the guy that's looking for other things, right? Employers are looking for that guys, and that's the fastest way to grow your wage. It's the fastest way to grow how valuable you are. Your goal at a business is to become irreplaceable, right? And as an employer, here's the best tip I can give you guys. When I tell you guys that we're looking for employees that want to take on more stuff, we want to pay you to solve our problems, okay? We want to pay you to solve our problems, okay? If you want to come into work and do the same thing every day, that's fine. There's a place for those who, I love those kind of employees too. But I will not pay you the same way I'm going to pay this problem solver, okay? I'm just not, okay? So I became the guy that would solve problems, okay? That's why when they needed somebody to become an engineering liaison, the guy that talks to the builders and then talks to the engineers, I became that guy. And then they're like, hey, Eric, you know, why don't you just come into engineering full time? We're going to teach you how to use CAD programs, 3D modeling. We're going to teach you all about planning, right? And you can learn to do drawings for us. And then I became the guy that was in engineering, learning also. And again, I use SolidWorks and CAD all day, every day in my business now that I own, right? I became the guy that would do audits, right? So when Hawker Beechcraft would come in and they'd want to audit our spending, I'm the guy that would pull all the receipts. I'd deal with the bill of materials, and I'd go through the auditor, and we would pull the receipts for the requirements for the cabinet, and then the material that we had to purchase for that cabinet. And we'd check to make sure that the receipts lined up with what the Hawker Beechcraft believed the expenses to be. They were just basically checking and verifying that we were spending what we were telling them we were spending. I became that guy. That's what everyone needs to do. And here's another thing. If you get to an employer, right, and on the employer side, if you're one of these people that's always looking to do more, you're somebody that that wants to take on more responsibility, that wants to build different things. Maybe you want to, do different things within your company. If you're one of those people that's asking your employer for that stuff, and your employer never gives you the opportunity, get the fuck out of there. Okay, don't waste your time. All right. If you work for one of these companies where it's like, well, I got to wait for old Joe to retire so that I can move up into his slot. If your employer doesn't understand that what you're doing as a younger employee, a new employee, an ambitious employee, he doesn't want to give you an opportunity to do what old Jim was doing or what old Jim is doing, you need to leave. Because there are a lot of employers out there, a lot of employers like me, we're looking for ambitious employees, right? We're okay if you don't want to be ambitious, right? But we are looking for these kind of people. So if you want to make a lot of money, you want to be irreplaceable so that when times get hard and they start laying people off, they're never going to lay you off because you're too goddamn valuable. Not because they pay you the most money, but because you're too valuable, which has its own currency, by the way, right? If you're the employee that sticks around when times get hard, guess what? You get to learn more things. You actually become more valuable because there's less employees to pull from. So I hope this stuff kind of makes sense to people. It's kind of important. I learned this stuff over my 20 years in aerospace and as a furniture maker, and my almost 10 years now as an employer, right? Someone that is hiring people, that writes the paychecks, So I hope this is good information for you guys. Again, I see it all the time. Like, don't be one of these people that fucking pisses and moans about like, oh, my boss doesn't like me. I can't move up my position because I'm waiting for old Jim to move. Don't be one of these people. Get the fuck out of there and go find an employer. Again, maybe you need to go to a young business, a business that is moving, a business that doesn't have 1,000 employees, right? The other thing is that a lot of employees think that they're doing the things that I'm talking about, and they're not really being honest with themselves. As an employer, I have no incentive to keep one of my people down. Zero incentive. My job, if I have an employee that wants to do more for my business, if I can find a way to make money on that, I'm going to leverage that so that I can then make more money. I make more money, they make more money, right? I get to make more money. They're doing something they want to do. They're providing value. They're feeling like they're valuable, that they're adding something to this company that's very important. That is a huge thing for a business owner. So again, if you're one of these employees that feels like they can't get what they're owed, they can't get the opportunities, you're asking all the right questions, you're being interested, you're doing good work, then you need to go. You need to get the fuck out of there. Go find an employer that really cares about what it is that you do, that wants you to do everything that you're capable of. So, okay, let's see. This is Elizabeth Conley, 79, 76. If you had reading comprehension skills, you would see I said I have a decent career. Okay, well, sorry about that. My bad. And again, I say all the time, I never graduated high school. I'm not the greatest reader in the world. And again, I've been doing this for almost an hour and 60 minutes now. So another 20 minutes, that's 3 hours, right? So it's trust me, you can get cross-eyed going on this thing. So anyway, I'm going to give you guys, we're going to go to 160, and then I'm probably going to be done for the day. Keep going through comments. I worked on the unions, and I have really, really, really good health care. Yeah, I bet you do. And that's cool, man. Unions are, I grew up in a union family. My dad was a union steam fitter, and it was a good career for him. He made good money and retired. I don't think he has a pension, but he had good retirement. He has good health care now. He's a pretty happy guy. So yeah, unions certainly have their place. Obviously not a decent enough career to offer you good health care. Okay. You like socialism? No, Anna J. I don't like socialism. I'm kind of the bridge between, like, I'm an ultra capitalist, to be quite honest with you. But what I don't like is when capitalists buy politicians and they buy mediocrity, right? They want everything to stay exactly the same. Big businesses use the third world to bring back a ton of cash, right? Sell you guys products for exorbitant prices, right? If corporations were really selling you guys products for what they paid for them in the third world, most of your guys' prices on things would be cut in half. And again, I tried to explain it to you guys with hardware, and hardware is a little bit off because we mark this stuff up essentially 10 times. But most of the stuff you guys buy, again, it's being made for $2.50 in China, right? And you guys are paying 10 times that for the product, and it's not right. And they're taking that extra money, they're giving it to people that already have money, shareholders, wealthy people, C-suite executives, and they're buying politicians. They're buying new regulations, things like EPA, things like OSHA, things like transportation, and things like tort. and they're keeping you guys oppressed, right? They're not going to let you have your own businesses. They're not going to let you have an abundance of jobs. And if you won't work for the wages that they tell you can work for, they'll bring the third world in here, right? And then when we elect someone that's supposed to kick all those people out so you guys can get the money you deserve, they say, oh, hey, wait a minute, President, we're not going to give you any more money for your campaign or your party any money for your campaign if you kick those people out of here, and then you guys are stuck. So again, I feel like I got this thing figured out. I think I got it on lock. All right, Critical 509. It's like people don't understand the reason why they cannot find a full-time job anywhere is because companies get taxed out of the nose for having full-time employees. Yeah, 100%. And again, like the most basic tax I can think of is the 7.5% tax that I have to pay as an employer. It's literally called an employer tax. Like I shouldn't have to pay that. Like again, starting a business is the hardest thing you can do. Finding employees, very difficult. Getting a group of people together to make a product and deliver it to a customer on time, right? Very difficult. But yeah, they just come after us all the time. Like again, the employer always gets sued. It's never the employee that gets sued. It's always the employer. The people that have the money are ones that are always liable. It's never the worker. It's always the business owner. So again, why would we be business owners? The first thing I would do as a business owner is get rid of my employees so that I don't have the liability of having employees anywhere. And that should piss all of you off, right? And I'm saying that on purpose to be hyperbolic. I like employees. I like giving people jobs. I like seeing people buy new cars, houses, have kids, all this kind of shit. I love that stuff. A robot, you would never get that as an employer. But again, the way the tax system is set up, the way our legal system is set up, the way healthcare system is set up, I have every incentive to fucking get rid of you guys. And it's wrong. All right, Anna JG 1797, counselor here, not a shitty job, busted system. So counselor, so tell us, Ann JG. So I said I was going to end at 160. Anna JG, I want to know what it is you do. You said you're a counselor here. So are you one of these like psychologists? Are you a psychiatrist? Are you like working in schools? I'm kind of curious. So Critical 519, obviously it's not such a shitty job. We'd be able to offer you decent health insurance, better than that a construction worker. Again, I think a lot of construction workers have decent health care. A lot of your large companies, like we have McBride here in Missouri, they offer fucking fantastic benefits. So I don't know what you're talking about. See, if you chose to work for a company that did not offer you decent benefits, that is a choice that made you nothing to do with government or taxpayers needing to pay your bills. Okay, if you chose to work for a company that did not offer you decent benefits, that is a choice that you did, has nothing to do with the government or taxpayers needing to pay your bills. That's actually, that's a pretty good statement. Again, like I don't offer all the benefits that I don't offer healthcare or dental for my company because I don't make enough profit to do that. It's very expensive to offer those benefits. And small businesses, again, most of us cannot afford that. So we can't afford the $2,000 a month for one policy. Like, and again, 8 employees, no insurance company gives a fuck about your 8 employees. They're not going to give you any kind of a discount. Now, if you got 500 employees, you can get a pretty nice discount. The government actually incentivizes me to give you guys healthcare. I will get a deduction for it. You don't get a deduction, but I do. But again, I still can't afford it. So the only people that get that deduction are large corporations. So again, when I talk about big business and small business don't want the same things, but the people that advocate for small business are always advocating for big business. Okay, guys, I think I've probably got it here. Let's see. Let's go to Anna JG. I want to see if you sent, I want to know your story there. Okay, there are about 800 million homeless people in the nation. Banks hoard 16 million are vacant homes. Again, don't give a fuck about any of that, Anna. The homeless people aren't the homeless. They're the sick. Again, I come from the Pacific Northwest. These people aren't. This isn't homeless. You got to start with their health. Their health is they're all kinds of messed up. We should let the problem continue. That's goofy. Okay. Again, Anna JG, I'm seeing if you're a comment. I'm gonna punch you down. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear about punching down. It's perfectly okay to punch down. The best thing that ever happened to me is people punch down on me. Best thing that ever happened to me. Literally my entire goal in life, my wife makes fun of me to this day, is that I wanted to make sure that everybody that I went to high school with that thought I was such a fucking loser can see the way that I live now, what I've done with my life, and I hope every one of those people is wrong. It's literally guided me my entire life. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, see, sounds like your parents should have made more. Okay, again, I'm still waiting there. Let's see if you put it. I'm going to go all the way to the end of your comment. Guys, I appreciate everyone being on the stream today. Now you're saying moving the goalpost. I do these streams once a day. I try and talk about current events. I try and talk about things from a business owner's point of view who's not super educated. I didn't go to college. I don't have a master's. I don't have an MBA. I don't have any of that shit. I just worked really hard, figured this thing out. And again, I think more people can do that. You can get really good at a skill. Spend 10 years working on whatever, building houses. In my case, it was building furniture. take that skill, learn it really well, and then go compete with the people you work with. Start a side hustle, right? Start working, whether in my case it's making furniture. I made furniture. I started 3 businesses while I was working for somebody else. They all failed. Finally got things figured out. I met a woman who really understood her product. She really understood marketing. She really understood that side of the advertising and all that. And then we're able to grow this thing into something that really matters. I think anybody can do it. And that's what I advocate for. That's what I talk about. And I want to see more people be able to do that kind of stuff because I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great way to live. And we need more American businesses here. And it's very difficult when your government is advocating for the third world, when all your big corporations are literally trying to make it harder for you as citizens to be able to start a small business. Okay? They do it by making healthcare really expensive, by making education really expensive, by crushing your wages, by bringing the third world into America, by crushing your wages, by sending your jobs to the third world. And they basically try and pacify you guys by telling you to go to college and get a degree for which you have to pay for. And then when you come out of college, you can't make enough fucking money to pay off the college degree, you know? So that's what I'm advocating for. More small businesses, more people doing it the way I did it, you know? So, okay, guys, well, let's see, Anna JG, let's see, you're out on the case. Again, I'm gonna go your last comment. I wanna see if you tell me where your counselor, anyone who ever tried to schedule with a specialist knows they're booked out. So, okay, God, I don't want to get. Okay, son, man, I'm glad you're here, son. You missed the end of the stream, dude. Sorry, I'm trying to go through this last chick's comment. I want to see if she comments on where she's a counselor. I'm very curious. So going. Okay, she did not comment. I find that very interesting. So Anna AG, again, you had the opportunity to let us all know where you're a counselor, what it is you're counseling to. But again, keep talking there, sister. So guys, I appreciate everyone hanging out streaming. I gave you guys the longest stream I've ever done. I appreciate everyone hanging out and spending their time with me on Saturday morning. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Have a beer, go out to dinner, you know, go see your missus, go hang out with your mister, man, and you guys have a good weekend. We'll do this again